Garbage in, garbage out.
There we go. Know that we are doing this show a little bit early today, and we have a surprise guest with us, Neodeath.
Wouldn't consider it a guest, but thank you.
Finally.
You have an open invitation to always be a part of the show and even be a permanent co-host.
Oh, yeah. We usually do the shows later on Saturday nights, but I have plans for this evening, and so that's why we're doing it now.
Actually, this works better because, later for me, I'm usually raiding in WoW. So
okay, perfect.
Yep. And a lot of times Saturday nights, Rachel and I sit there, we go out. I don't know how many times, Connor. How many times have I texted you and been like, "I'm on my way home"?
Yeah.
That's your date night or whatever.
Yeah, well, that's usually when we go out and do our grocery shopping or whatever we have to do for the weekend. Right. And then a lot of times we're sitting there like, oh wait, hey, let's go here, and then I'm messaging Connor like, I'll be there. I promise I'll be in time for the show, but I can't guarantee we'll have any time to prep.
Right. I mean, and you wouldn't know the difference watching our show if we prepped or not, so
yeah,
it doesn't really matter. So
we prep ?
Yeah, we prep exactly.
I don't know. I think kind of flying by the seat of our pants makes it more fun because then we just got to sit here and try to be funny, and that's usually when it's like it's not funny, but trying to be funny is what makes it funny.
I mean, we think it's funny, right?
Yeah, exactly.
We're having fun.
We're entertaining ourselves more than the actual viewers.
Right.
So.
Well, that's why it's called Garbage In, Garbage Out. We're just a couple of nobodies on the internet and trying to entertain.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know if you know that recognize that term, Brian. I don't know how much computer coding you've done, but garbage in, garbage out.
No.
Yeah. So it's it's a computer coding term. Basically, the statement is whatever you put in is what it's going to produce. And so garbage in, garbage out. And like I said, the self-depreciating humor that we have for ourselves, we know we're putting out shit. So, just garbage in, garbage out.
All right. That fits on brand with how I've been doing Twitch lately. I've just been saying I'm just a punching bag for the opponents. I'm just here so that they can win.
There you go. Pad those numbers.
Right.
And I don't know if you noticed this, but the kids doing the garbage in, garbage out at the very beginning is actually Connor's kids. Or no, Connor's niece and nephew. I'm sorry.
My niece and nephew, yeah.
Oh. I was wondering how you got that.
I asked my brother to whip us up an intro, and I said it's got to be very minimal, basic shit, and he's like, okay, and I'm like just the title sliding in, and I'm like, and have the kids say garbage in, garbage out. He's like, okay.
And if you notice, here, I'll play this again. Brian, tell me if you notice something here.
Garbage in, garbage out.
Notice the font there.
Oh, yes.
The Jurassic Park.
Jurassic Park.
Gotta love it.
Yeah.
And I love the background that you have going on there with the skulls and everything.
Yeah, this was my old background from when I streamed on my PS4 the few times that I did do it. Mm-hmm. So I was like, all right, it's already there. I'll take it as my brand thing and continue on with it.
Yeah. See, we just have this.
Yeah, I literally whipped it up and put the Twitch thing in there. I'm like, well, that would probably be good to have the branding somewhere.
Yeah. No. I'm just going with Baby Metal.
Yeah. I was going to say something about that, but decided not
to. Yeah. I don't know what your hang up is about them. They are so good.
They're bad. They're really bad.
No. No. Judas Priest cannot be wrong. Rob Zombie cannot be wrong. Metallica cannot be wrong. I mean, they're touring with...
I mean, they can be wrong, and they have been wrong, especially Metallica with fucking Saint Anger.
I mean, they're doing a lot of collabs right now with a bunch of big people. I mean, Tom Morello did a guitar work on one of their songs. They did...
What song doesn't he do a collab?
No. I haven't heard him with ICP.
You haven't heard with the MyCP yet.
Yeah.
Keyword, yes.
Stuff with ICP. I was done stuff with ICP, but I think I can't remember what band it was, but I'm pretty sure I think they did a collab with they being Baby Metal. I want to say it was with Falling in Reverse, maybe. I don't remember.
I think I heard that one.
I think the song's called Kingslayer or something like that, but I don't remember if it was Falling in Reverse or one of those other bands. But
yeah, one of those newer age metal bands.
So
they all get lumped together now. Like what we listen to is now.
Yeah. So, but I mean, I've seen them live. They're very good live. They're going to actually be at Summerfest this year in Wisconsin. I'm debating on going just to see them again.
Maybe they're a better band live.
Oh, they're fantastic live. The tour I saw them with, they were with Death Clock from Metalocalypse, the cartoon. So that was actually a really good show.
So you're saying they're like the opposite of Plain White Tees, who apparently suck live but are great in the studio.
I mean, I produce better sounds in the bathroom than Plain White Tees. So,
I mean, Hey There, Delilah was actually a pretty decent song, but I don't really know anything else.
I heard it 40,000 times.
Right. So it was way overplayed.
Well, all of theirs. I mean, what was their other big hit? 1, 2, 3, 4. That one was pretty crap.
I don't even remember that one. The only one I think of is Hey There, Delilah.
Yeah. No, their last hit that I actually enjoyed, I think it was them. I think it was Red Flags. That one's actually pretty good.
Okay.
So, and the funny thing is I didn't even realize it was them at first, and they were playing the song at my work. And I'm like, this is pretty catchy. And
you're like, hey, this is pretty good.
I pulled up Shazam, and I'm like, fucking Plain White Tees? I'm like, oh, no, but...
And then you're like, this has got to be a cover, right?
Right, something. I'm like, they couldn't write this. But...
Maybe they didn't write it. They just happened to play it.
Could be.
No, Neodeath. I heard. I can't even talk right now. I don't know what it is. No, but I heard that you were actually looking at getting back onto Twitch. I know you used to be on Twitch a while ago. Like just kind of on there ish. But yeah, sounds like you're getting back into streaming and more content creating.
Trying to, yeah. I was doing it during like the pandemic, and we had all that time off, and like everybody's a streamer now, right? You had all the time, you had the video games. So I was doing it then on my PS4, so it was just like basic. It did all the work. So I don't know what made me do it. Sunday I was playing Magic Arena, and I kept losing. I'm like, well, I should be filming this because you could see how this game is just totally screwing me. So I'm like, all right, let me go get OBS. Let me start fiddling around with that. And then I went live, and I'm like, okay. And I've slowly been adding things to it and figuring things out. And Google is your friend.
Mm-hmm.
So I think I've done it like 5 or 6 times now.
I mean, to be fair, that's how I started my whole streaming thing, was on the PS4 and just, fucking around. And then I'm like, I didn't have the overlays, I didn't have the alerts, any of that fancy shit. And then as I grew into it more, and then I started doing it on both the PS4 and the Xbox. And initially, like my streaming name on Twitch was Koimiya PS4. And I'm like, but now I'm doing it on the Xbox as well. And Brian is gone. But I that's how I started. And then when I started streaming, Twitch game, or not Twitch, but Xbox, PlayStation, PC, Switch, all of that, that's when I rebranded to Koimiya X. So
well, that's how I started, actually, was just through PS4. Again, like you said, it did everything for you. All you had to do was hit just a couple of buttons and you were fine. But that's also the reason I decided to start doing more like getting the computer involved in everything that we do now, was actually when I was playing Batman Arkham. I want to say it was Arkham Knight, and there was that big scene where, you know, Batman was like kind of in his mind, and he was like, the Joker was kind of towards the end, you know, where the Joker was kind of leading you through this whole thing. Mm-hmm. That whole thing, when it came up and it said it's been blacked out because Sony didn't want that going out, and I was like, so wait, so they can hear me talking.
Yep, and it's the blue screen, like the little PlayStation symbols, and
yeah, but bouncing around, and I was like, wait, I don't want them to just hear me. I want them to be able to see what I'm talking about here.
Right.
So I decided, I was like, yeah, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to get around that. And that's when I started kind of buying little things here and there.
Yep. That's pretty much what did it for me too.
My very first stream, though, everyone's like, oh, I need to be perfect at the gate. Like, my very first stream was literally just the gameplay for Sunset Overdrive.
Yeah.
No camera, no mic. Nothing.
Initially, the funniest thing that actually even got me remotely thinking about streaming was when I first signed up for Extra Life.
Oh, really?
And that was like initially the first time I ever streamed, and it's essentially just gameplay. And it wasn't even to Twitch. I don't think I had it going to YouTube, and because PlayStation had the option of both Twitch and YouTube,
right?
And yeah, my very first streams were for Extra Life. And that's when, and then I started like watching other streamers, and there was one that he doesn't stream anymore, but when Xbox had Mixer, and I started following him on Mixer and just really getting into it, his content, and I'm just like, man, if he can do it, I can do it. And that's when I really started getting into it. So
yeah,
right.
See, I knew some people that streamed, and I was just like, oh, I want to try that.
Right. I mean, anytime you're starting, though, is hard, right? You're basically talking to yourself for the most part.
I still am. Like, my one viewer is usually my iPad that I have open just to make sure shit is running properly.
I didn't even think about that. Like, yeah, like, I mean, I've had like the first stream I came back on Sunday was actually a really good stream, because like a newbie to Magic hopped in. He's like, is it okay if I'm new? And I'm like, sure. And when I just started explaining things to him, he would ask me questions. It was actually quite awesome just to be able to talk to him and explain things and hopefully help him out. I mean, today's stream, I had another guy pop in, and he was kind of talking to me a little bit about the deck tech I was doing and stuff. So I was like, oh, that's not bad. I like it when I have people and not talking to myself.
Yeah, my biggest thing right now is I still, if I'm playing an RPG that doesn't have any voiceover, I don't read the text. Okay. Like, some streamers will sit there and, like, you know, when the characters are having conversations, they will sit there and read the text out loud,
and then have voices for them. I've seen Day9 do that.
Not even necessarily doing that, but just reading the text, you know. So then when you're watching me play an RPG that doesn't have any voiceover, I'm just sitting there like this. And, you know, and then it's just, whereas with ones with voiceover, I actually appreciate a little more because it's more entertaining, you know, and you get the feel for the character.
That's my biggest thing. There's a small group on Twitch that I watch that does that. That's called Pumpkinberry. Have you ever heard of them?
No.
So yeah, they'll actually get like all of them on screen, like all the players on screen at one time, and then each time they're sitting there in a group, they'll come up with their own voices for it. And it's almost like they're sitting there doing the whole thing themselves.
That's pretty cool.
That's pretty cool, yeah. I mean, that's almost like your D&D, right?
Right. Yeah. Which is the next evolution, you know.
We should all play D&D together and just be like, okay, here's this voice, like, and then he said.
Well, Adam, are you going to do Extra Life this year?
Yes.
And do you do it, Neodeath?
I've never done it, no.
No? Because I know you can. We should make a garbage in, garbage out team. Because you can make teams that, like, you know, each streamer has their own specific goal, and then like as a team you have one goal. So like say our team goal is $1,000, and then like Adam, your goal is 500 and my goal is 500, and then that 500 will then go towards that $1,000 goal. But it's just a thought. I do it. This will be my 11th year, 12th year doing it, something like that. So I've been part of teams before, and every team that I've ever been on, we've never hit our goal. I mean, I've hit personal goals, but we've never hit a team goal.
Now you've raised the stakes. Now we have to, right?
But I think it'd just be something fun that we can talk about that down the line, because I mean, Extra Life isn't even until November. But
I was gonna say that's a ways away, isn't it?
Yeah.
Well, they do have some tabletop events that they do that they do streams and fundraisers for, but the main game day is like I usually end of October, beginning of November.
It's usually the first Saturday of November. And it's a 24-hour event, but I mean, you can do it anytime you want. They even say, I mean, they take donations from like January 1st to December 31st. So, I mean, you could get donations. I already got a donation on my page for this year, and I haven't even streamed once for it. And, and they say, the official day, like I said, is the first Saturday of November. But if you want to do it in January, you can. If you want to do it, like right now today, if I wanted to do it, I could. And the first year that I did it, I tried to go the full 24 hours.
So did I.
And I crashed at hour 22.
I was just saying, then you realized how old you are now.
Now, mind you, like I said, this is also 11 years ago. So I mean, I was still a little bit youthful then, and yeah, but now what I do is I usually break it up into 3 days of 8-hour streams, because then that's my 24 hours. So it makes things easier for us old folk.
And I've talked to a few younger people that were doing and I sound so old saying that. I talked to a few younger people, but I did talk to a few younger people that were doing 24 hours, and they're like, oh, not only that, I'm actually going to do like a 38-hour stream. And I'm just like, dude, I'm going to probably sleep like at least 4 times while you're doing that.
I mean, you see the people on Twitch do it too. They'll a new game comes out, PoE 2, or new expansion to WoW, and everybody's like playing it for however many hours, or D4, and I'm like,
like I was looking forward to this, but I just don't have that stamina anymore.
I found a nice comfort.
I don't even know how, when I was younger, you'd go out, you party, you get drunk, and then you'd go to work like from that and stay up and do that and then go to bed normal. I'm like, I don't even know how I did that. I had to have been a robot at that time. Right.
Yeah, that's why I found like a nice comfort with doing the 8 hours, 3 days of 8 hours. And I've even actually, I've done it where I'll do 4 hours like in the morning, and then like 4 hours in the afternoon or something, because then I can stop and have lunch or whatever, or
take a
nap. Exactly. And so, but
see, because I did the same thing. I tried to do the 24 hours. I think I crashed at like hour 18 or 20. And then the following year, I told Rachel, I was like, I'm not going to do that. I'm going to break it up. I'm going to do 2 16-hour streams. I think that was going to be more manageable. But it was like by 16 hours, I was like, do I really want to go back on tomorrow?
Right.
And it was not like I wasn't enjoying the game. It was Assassin's Creed. It was Assassin's Creed Odyssey, one of those you could put that many hours into. And but I was just sitting there like, I am so done. But next year, the following year after that, Rachel was like, here, break it up, 8 hours, 8 hours, 8 hours, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. And I was like, okay.
And then it's like, 1 year, I don't remember, it was like 2 or 3 years ago, I did it where like each day was a different theme. And there was like one day where I just specifically for the event, I renewed my WoW subscription, and I'm like, all right, for this 8 hours, I'm starting a brand new character, and we're just going to see how far we can get them in 8 hours. And and then I even had like, if my viewers wanted to join me, and we could group up and kill shit or whatever, So,
see, we got Looker here. He says, hey, how's it going, my dude? How's it going, Looker?
Hello.
So.
Yep. Looker actually has his own podcast too, the DNL podcast. I believe that will be Monday night when they do the next episode.
Nice.
Well, if you want to hear something shocking, I actually plan on streaming later tonight.
Okay.
I've got Meld all set up. I think I'm ready to go. But I mean, this isn't going to be until like 11, 12 at night. You know.
Remember that you're the guinea pig on that one. So
Yep.
you get the kinks out and tell us how it works.
Yeah, well, if it all goes to plan, it's going to be multi-streamed to Twitch, Kick, and YouTube. So
Very nice.
I need to start a Kick page. I never have started that. And I know, Koimiya, you've been talking about Meld for a while. So definitely let us know how that works out, because I've got everything going through OBS right now. And I know, Brian, we were probably a little confusing when you were asking about what to use, because here he's going Meld and I'm sitting there going like, I just got everything through OBS. It's like,
Right.
What's the best?
I mean,
Well,
I think everybody knows like OBS. Like that's your default. Hey, if I'm in a stream, this is what you're gonna get.
see, and what
I'm sure there's about a billion of other ones besides Meld and other.
Oh yeah, there's definitely. I mean, there's Restream, there's Beam, there's Chat, SE Live, Stream Elements. All these different programs offer this. Meld, though, what I like about that is that, like I said to you, I had all my shit set up in OBS. Meld literally has a button. You go in there and it imports all your OBS files, so you don't have to do anything over again. And and then you can restream to multiple channels without having to use all the plugins that you had to download for OBS or enter and all of that crap. The only thing I've noticed so far about Meld that it is different than OBS is there's no like multi-chat dock window in it. So I had to do a little tweaking today. I downloaded a program called Social Stream that you can have multiple chat boxes all in one that I'm going to then have open so that I can see my multiple stream chats.
Okay.
So Looker here, he's like Meld. So yes, Meld is another form of OBS. It's not OBS, but it's just like OBS.
You want to put the link in the comments there?
Yeah.
I would like to, but I don't see it. Won't. Like, I don't even have the option to chat in your.
Huh?
I gave
That's
you.
interesting. I see that.
Yeah, no, I don't know what's going on, but I don't have the option to chat in there.
It says join chat and it's trying to go through YouTube. Huh.
This is the way that we are right now.
This is how we work. Are you able to chat in there, Adam?
Yeah.
Okay.
It's called Meld Studio, MELD. I found it here.
Yeah.
So it is meldstudio.co.
Mm-hmm.
I'll go ahead and link that.
Whose screen is small?
There we go.
There we go. So yeah, because I've got it in here and it says here some destinations won't get comments, but yeah, I've got it where I can. Are you in the comment section?
Yeah.
Nope.
Yeah, like I have the option to show, like if I wanted, I could do this, and I have the option to do that, but
that's fancy.
So,
but yeah, I can't type a damn thing in there.
Because I've got it set to all. So I don't know. We'll look
Problems
at that.
to solve later.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much.
That's what happens on a live show. It's problems to solve later.
Like I can type in the private chat for the studio, but.
And yeah, he says your screen is small.
Yours, Adam. I don't know what he means by it, but.
When did he say that? I didn't even see
But yeah, so Meld Studio, I've kind of looked at it, but I'm just like, I just did everything in OBS. But if it's gonna port everything over there, and I don't have to do anything over, or at least not a whole lot over, I'd be willing to jump over to Meld, because I mean OBS, as great as it is, right now I've got it streaming to both TikTok and Twitch, and I've got it set up where I can stream to YouTube, but it seems like it pulls a lot from the computer to do that, and it doesn't sound like Meld pulls quite so much.
I don't know. He said he sent you a pic though, Adam.
Pick in Messenger.
I mean, yeah, like I said, I've been learning, so I think I have like 5 or 6 different scenes already set up. I would hate to have to do that again.
Yeah.
And I finally got
And then I've been using
so it shows up.
this other program. Okay, so there's this developer out there. His name is Pixel. Or AC Pixel, I can't remember. But he used to have, back in the day, when I was using Mixer and Gleamish, or however the hell it was said, he had a thing called Pixel Chat. And it could do overlays and a chat bot and things like that. And then he came out with this new, he teamed up with another developer and came out with this new app called AeroKick. And AeroKick has like dynamic themes for overlays and things like that. It's pretty cool. And it initially started out for Kick only. And then he's now added Twitch functions to it as well. And the nice thing is Meld, I mean, it works on OBS as well, but you can like literally go into the AeroKick app on the, on their web browser and do all the work and just literally drag it over to Meld or over to OBS and drop it in, and it just does everything. It sets it up just right for you automatically.
Nice.
So yeah, I'm pretty excited to go live tonight. I just don't know if I'm going to, because I did go live a couple days ago and I did a first play of a game called Eternal Strands. And I don't know, this is one of my problems as a streamer, is like I'll play a game once and be like, okay, time to play something else. And then, okay, time to play something else instead of sticking with one game. So I don't know if I'm going to continue Eternal Strand or if it's just going to be, because I'm testing Meld, more of a, just like a Balatro and chill game, and so.
I still haven't tried Balatro. I know you've told me to try it out. I know a bunch of others have told me about it, but I'm just sitting there like, I don't necessarily get into card games. But as I've seen, as I've heard,
it's more than a card game, though. Like I sat there, like when that first came out, I watched. I think it was Day 9 actually that started me on it. He started playing it, and I literally watched him and a bunch of other people for hours on YouTube playing
it's so simple.
It's so simple, and it's just so like challenging in the same sense. And you're like, man, I could just sit here and watch this, and I did. Yeah, and then I got it, and I played it a little bit, but
I like how the Muppets. What is that? World Off, the ones that sit there and insult everybody. I love how at the Game Awards they were kind of joking about how that was getting Game of the Year or Game of the Year nomination.
It should, though. I mean, like I said on one of our previous streams, it's worth every good review that it's gotten. It's it's deserving. Especially, I believe, like I said, isn't that one done by one guy?
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, it's a pretty fun game.
Oh yeah. So I know that we've got a couple of bigger stories that have happened throughout here, and I guess the best way to do this is nice little segue into the next option here. But I know we were just talking here a little bit before the show. Where I kind of had to jump in like late, save it for the show. Shrek 5's got some controversy going about it. What do you guys think of all of this animation controversy? Connor, I know your opinion, but let's hear it for the show.
It's Take two. Yeah, I think that people are overreacting and bitching for the sake of bitching. I see people calling it, Sonic level bullshit, and we should contact the developers for that reason. And wow, what are you doing? There you go.
I will get that to transition.
Hey, we're top notch here.
It's just like, so okay. It's not Sonic level disaster. There's no reason to bully the devs over this.
Does the article have the comparison of the two? I thought I put one in there at one point. Like if you do the comparison, you can kind of see it.
I think it's ridiculous because like I said, as a joke, it's the dude's going to be rounder. He's older. He's got a teenage kid now. I've got kids. I've gotten older. I've gotten fatter. I think people are overreacting for no goddamn reason.
So basically this.
To compare exactly, and to sit there and compare, like I had said, it's almost like comparing it to a straight to video versus the original studios thing. And I get that this is the original studio doing it, but it's a stupid thing. It's a stupid hill to die on. I mean, and trust me, I know that because I have stupid hills to die on. And I've told Adam some of my stupid hills that I will die on. And so you want to die on that hill, that's fine, but I think the animation is fine.
Yep, and it says right here there have been some calls for a similar situation, that of the original Sonic the Hedgehog, to take place here. So basically, they want him to go in there and fix the animation, quote unquote, the animation. Where the trailer for the first Sonic film released, the complaints were so loud that the lead character ended up being completely reanimated to look a different way. I don't think it's anywhere near that bad. I mean, if I scroll back up here, how is this much different than the original? This is the original. I mean, this is kind of one of his more actiony shots, but this isn't much different. Yeah, it's rounder, but it doesn't. If you weren't looking for differences, you really wouldn't notice much of it.
Well, like I saw one comment that I do kind of agree with is like, okay, Fiona, she looks more like she belongs in the Trolls movies.
Okay.
I don't know if you've seen any of the Trolls movies. I have, unfortunately, because of my kids, but that there, especially in that photo, she looked that animation style, and I'm pretty sure DreamWorks did the Trolls movies, but Shrek, he looks the same to me. Donkey, I've seen a lot of people complaining about Donkey. What is so different? I don't know. Maybe I need to
other animation
or something. But
here's my take on it. So you kind of have the same thing with the Star Wars movies, right? So you have people that, like us, we grew up with the original trilogy, and that's the holy trilogy, right? Those are the best ever. And then you've got the prequels, but people that grew up with the prequels think the prequels are the best thing ever. So it depends on when you're watching them. So if you grew up watching the old Shrek and now you're an adult and you're looking at this and you're like, that's not what I used to watch. Like, you're seeing the difference that way. That's how I feel it's going. So that's where you got the younger, older people now looking at this like, I don't like that. They did something to it. Or it could also be the other thing. Like, the internet thinks that Sinbad was in Shazam. Like, I can't think of that phenomenon. What the hell it's called?
The
Mandela effect.
Yes, thank you.
The Berenstain Bears or the Berenstain Bears, yeah.
Right.
Yeah. But, and here's the thing, though. It's like, I saw this, it wasn't about the Shrek argument, but it's kind of like the same things we are saying where, when Dragon Age Inquisition came out, everybody's like, this game is fucking horrible. This is a piece of shit game. It's stupid, blah, 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 blah. Flash forward 10 years, Veilguard has come out, and now everybody's like, man, remember Dragon Age Inquisition was so good. Yeah,
Right?
it's like, it's like, so this Shrek's coming out, and there's probably more going to be coming out down the line.
Mm-hmm.
And years from now, people are like, man, remember Shrek 5? How awesome that was. And the same thing with the Star Wars example. The original trilogy, the Holy Trilogy, those prequels came out and we're like, man, this is fucking horrible. Then the trilogy came out and everybody's like, man, remember how good the prequels were?
Right?
So it's just like, I get the rose-tinted nostalgia glasses that people are wearing, but at the same time, it's like, fuck, bitch about something else. If Activision has ruined your day to the point that you need to threaten devs online, go out and touch grass.
Mm-hmm.
So,
well, I mean, I put in our group, that I thought the animation looked a little off. I wasn't necessarily saying, I wasn't doing a huge complaint about it, but I was just sitting there like, yeah, it looks off, but it looks off to me because I grew up with the original.
No, I'm kidding with you. But yeah, no, and like I said, you're also basing, I mean, how long was the trailer? Like 20 seconds? 30 seconds, a minute tops. You're going to base the whole fucking movie off of that 20-second trailer when you don't have any clue what the movie's about. Although somebody did bring up a good point. They're like, oh, it's probably Shrek's daughter and Shrek don't see eye to eye, and then something happens, and then they're friends, something like that. But
it's going to run over that same old trope. But
yeah, which that I would be more pissed about than the animation.
Right.
Come
up with a better
we've seen this 500 times before.
So, and that kind of reminded me, do you guys remember the very first trailer for Captain America Civil War? Remember how everyone freaked out about Peter Parker? I don't even think they had seen Tom Holland as Peter Parker. They just heard his voice where he's like, hey, everybody. And they're like, nope, he sounds too young. It's like he was in the trailer for 2 freaking seconds. How are we facing this whole explosion of a reaction here? And everyone's sitting there going oh, he's too young. He's not Peter Parker. You can tell that this is going to be off. This is going to be off. It's like he literally said, hi, guys.
Yeah. It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
I don't know. Maybe I'm just the old man yelling at the cloud again, but
Get off my lawn.
It's like, Jesus Christ, people. Jesus Christ.
It's what happens when you have gamers in their 40s doing shows like this.
Does it even have when it's releasing or anything?
It's the
2026.
Christmas 2026.
So they still have time to even work on it. If they took that little bitty trailer, kind of like Sonic, and maybe that was the work in progress. They needed to get something out to get you excited. Whatever.
But at the same time, that's a fucking year away yet. Why even announce it?
That's true.
Oh, sorry.
That's like when they announced the next Elder Scrolls. What, 8 years ago now? And we still just have that Skyline trailer, and that's it. So, I mean, I believe building up hype for your shit, but 8 years is fucking ridiculous.
I mean, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. It gets to be really annoying. I don't know if it's just our generation noticing it in the younger generation, but it seems like when anything comes out or when anything has changed the slightest little bit, you can make a new movie and say okay, the can is over here instead of over here, and everyone just has this massive meltdown over it.
The Spider-Man puddles, remember the puddles controversy?
The puddle gate, as they called it.
Yeah.
I forget. Did you ever play Spider-Man?
For the PS5?
PS4.
Yes.
Yeah. Remember when the first trailer came out for that and they had huge puddles all over the construction yard, and then just they said it was a work in progress, and by the time the game came out they had scaled it down, and everyone's like, oh, they did that because of the graphics of the PS4, it can't do it. And I was like, they literally did it because it looked better.
Yeah. The controversy was when the first Watch Dogs trailer came out. And then the game came out and everybody's like, why does this look like a potato compared to the trailer they showed? But now, having said all of this about getting upset about the slightest little things, let us talk about Tony Hawk 3 and 4 remake.
Okay. Yes, we definitely should. If I can, it'll pull up here.
So, my interest for this went from, let me get on camera here, from up here to down here in one day. 2 reasons why. 1, they are excluding Bam Margera from this. Now, I get that the dude had a very controversial past, especially with the last season or movie of Jackass, where he got banned from the set and the director had to file a restraining order. I know the dude had a lot of substance abuse issues and things like that. He's been clean for over a year now. I don't know if you've seen recent pictures of him, but he's lost a lot of weight. And he is pretty much like very relevant for the Tony Hawk scene. You know, especially part 3 and part 4, and then everybody who's clamoring for a Tony Hawk Underground remake. He was essentially the narrator for the fucking game. He's the first character you meet, and he's the one that gives you the basic starting missions and stuff like that. So, first I was upset that they took Bam out of there. Then the thing that made Tony Hawk 4 so awesome was the fact that it was like Tony Hawk, but also open world. You could skate in between the challenges and stuff, and like anywhere you wanted, and go over here and get your mission. And then it would be like the other games where you have 2 minutes to complete, all of these runs or whatever. And they took that away. They basically took out the entire open world and said, nope, it's going to be like the first 3 games where it's just 2-minute runs to do this and do that and do this and do that.
And so those 2 games, then, like, what? Why even do that? Like,
exactly.
That's not the game. You're not remastering it. You're cutting it.
And so it's like, my interest went from high to low, and I'm now going, well, thank God it's going to be on Game Pass, so I don't have to buy it. Because right. I'll still play the hell out of it. But it's like that Bob's Burgers clip. All right, I'll go, but I'm not going to enjoy it. So when I'm laughing at the irony of me going, people are bitching about the stupidest things for Shrek 5, and then me going, there's no Bam, fuck this game. It just the irony is not lost on me. So, but yeah.
I don't know. Did you? I know, Koimiya, you obviously played these. I played these really a lot as demos. I never played the actual game themselves. Neodeath, did you ever play these?
Yes, same thing. It was like I would get a demo. I don't remember PlayStation Magazine when they actually used to give you a disc and you could play the games. You remember that? Like, I think I played it on there. I'm like, okay, this is kind of fun, but skating was never my thing, and I was just like, okay.
I think it was big for the skateboarders, the ones that are like really big into going outside and skateboarding. But I was more of a rollerblader.
And I'll tell you right now, I mean, the fucking soundtracks they had for those games just
I do remember that. Like great music.
Chef's Kiss, it was. You can
maybe that's why everybody likes them so much. They remember the music. They remember where
definitely
were.
Definitely.
Honestly, that's why I think Grand Theft Auto has done so well. Don't get me wrong. It's that game definitely deserves its place in history, just for gameplay and pushing the envelope. But I mean, who doesn't remember playing Vice City and being like, oh my God, the 80s soundtrack?
I mean, I bought the remaster trying to get that nostalgia effect, and the graphics were just so horrible. On the upscaling was not there. This is like right when they released it. I think they did a patch to fix it. But I was just cruising around listening to the music. I wasn't really doing anything in there.
Well, back in my day, Grand Theft Auto was top down.
That was the first Grand Theft Auto I remember playing was the top down.
I don't remember playing the top down.
The first 2 games were top down, and then they had the London City spin-off, like little side one. Yeah, it was Grand Theft Auto 1969 or whatever, but it was set in London.
Yeah, the first 4 Grand Theft Autos were all top down. There was Grand Theft Auto London, Grand Theft Auto 2, and then there was another one that came out before Grand Theft Auto 3. I can't think of what that was.
So,
and then Grand Theft Auto 3 is what brought it into.
It was the first one. Yeah,
that's the one that revolutionized everything.
So, and you know what's so funny is that actually the whole reason that we have Grand Theft Auto the way that we have it is because of a game glitch.
Really?
Yeah. So it actually started. It was just going to be a run-in. It was just going to be like a run-in chase game, like a cops and robbers kind of thing. But it was because of a game glitch. When you play, you had the choice to play between a cop or the bad guy. And when you played as the robber, the cops they noticed were like overly aggressive. Like they were supposed to. The cops were supposed to like
real
just,
life. Got it.
Yeah, but they were supposed to like just pull in front of you and like stop your car and then get out, you know, and stuff like that. But they noticed the cop cars were like ramming into you, and they were like, and they were like, oh, we got to fix this glitch. But when they were playing it, they were like, you know, this is more fun. Like, it's more. And they were playing as the cops going in there, and you know, they were like, this is fun too, but not as fun as being the criminal and having the cops really chase after you like this. So then eventually they turned that into Grand Theft Auto. They took that glitch and melded it into Grand Theft Auto. And now we have one of the biggest franchises in history. I see here, Looker came in, Cyclops. He sent the pic through Messenger, and then he said, sorry to derail the conversation. That was more about how it was showing small on my side.
The bot.
But yeah, that's
bringing the bots into chat here.
Oh yeah, that's the same one that keeps popping up on my when I'm streaming. Like the few times I didn't change it, I was like, they would pop in and say that stream boo whatever, and I'm like,
yeah,
what the hell? So now I changed it. You have to be a follower if you want to comment on my stream. So at least I get something out of it, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I go in and I ban every single one of these stupid bots that pops up.
I was trying to figure it out. I'm sitting over here. I know there's got to be a way to remove this message. I banned the person, but I couldn't get rid of the message. And then afterwards, I'm like, oh, I figured it out. I mean,
first world problems.
Learning on the fly here.
So, but yeah, speaking of Grand Theft Auto, like we were talking about before, the conversation got derailed there. Koimiya and Neodeath, I know you guys both have a lot to say about this, but Michael Patcher.
Yeah. That tool. That tool. So anytime I see an article that says analysts say this about video games or this about the next PlayStation system, or, you know, it's going to cost $8 gazillion to produce this and yada, yada, yada. If it's a really, really piss poor hot take, I instantly go, it's Patcher, or however you even say his last name, Pachter. And then I'll go and read the story and I'm like, yep, he's fucking clown shoes. And, you know, the only thing I give him credit for is if he's wrong, he will own up to his mistakes. But for, like I said before the show, for every right hot take that he has about 20 wrong ones.
Mm.
And so, you know, this whole, anytime you see Wedbush Securities, and you'll know his name is instantly attached to it, and it's probably a hot garbage take.
Yeah. Well, I mean, this time he's got Wedbush Securities kind of jumping behind him too. But I don't know. Would you guys? I gotta ask though. Would you guys really buy Grand Theft Auto 6 if it was $100 at launch?
So when they say $100, is that base game, or is that like, you know, their stupid deluxe editions where you get this and you get that? If it's the deluxe editions, I'm probably going to spend that money because I want the extras. I've done it before on other games. Games I haven't even played, like that new Star Wars Outlaws that came out. I bought the super deluxe edition and never played the damn thing.
Which is actually a really good game.
I know that, but like, good thing I didn't play it when it first came out because it had that glitch where it just erased your data. So
Yeah.
I missed the bullet on that one. But I mean, if they're deluxes and they're giving me extra things, I get that FOMO. Like, I don't want to miss out on this special thing that I'm not going to be able to get any other way. So, I mean, if it's that, yes. If it's base game is 100 and then now deluxe is what? 150, 160? Yeah, that's a hard no. I don't think anybody would go for that.
What this is saying here is Wedbush Securities, alongside with well-known analysis Michael Pachter, are arguing this premium price point could benefit players as well as bundling in Grand Theft Auto Online currency. So I'm not sure if this is saying that this is going to be base game or if this is going to be you get to pull over everything.
Kind of sounds like a deluxe, where they give you the game, they give you some cosmetics, and they give you some currency for the online. But usually the online doesn't come on like till a little bit afterwards, unless that's what's taking the game so long, is they want the online like immediately at release.
They want to transition from 5 to 6.
Right.
Yeah.
They want people to just be able to go right into online, which online is just always a shit show. So at least a few times that I played it with my buddy, it was like, okay, let's everybody just pull out rockets and blow each other up. Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, you got to find a good role-playing server. Like, I've seen some pretty fun things. I would never play. I'm not as big a GTA fan as Adam and all that. So I've only played a few times on the online aspect, but I've watched some streamers where they get into the full role playing aspect of their character and shit, and then it's like, okay, this could be kind of fun. But
okay,
yeah.
I played Grand Theft Auto Online. It was not right after it launched because I knew that there was going to be just, it was going to be Bug City. Which would actually be a pretty cool game now that I say that, Bug City. But no, I knew that it was just going to be riddled with bugs. So I kind of got on there, I want to say a few months after they had launched Grand Theft Auto Online. And I mean, it was fun, and now they're doing like all these things where all these things that they launched for it with like, these heist missions and Dr. Dre being in there. I'm like, this should have been what you promised us with that single player DLC that never came out. Right. This should have been that,
I mean, maybe it was that, and they're just like, all right, let's kick it to the online.
They did. They said they were working on, I want to say 3 substantial DLC single player ports, and then Grand Theft Auto Online just started making money hand over fist. So they then took what was supposed to be the single player DLC, broke it up, and then they put it into online, and then they retooled a lot of it. And they say if you go in there, you can see remnants or aspects of what the single player was supposed to be. They were supposed to be like Trevor was supposed to be a secret agent working with the FIB, and there's like buildings in there that I guess they just didn't have time to take down, so they left those in there because they were supposed to be part of that, but now they just leave them in there, but they do nothing in the online. Like, there's no mission that even takes place over there. You just walk through it.
I mean, yeah. I mean, it was kind of fun playing with my buddy, but again, it would always turn into like we'd be doing some missions and then we'd go cruise around, and then it'd just end up us fighting each other, shooting each other, and then blowing each other's cars up. Or some other D-bag would come and do the same thing to us. So then we're like teaming up on them. And I mean, that's all it was for the most part.
Yeah, I definitely want to check out.
I think Red Dead had a better online than GTA.
Yes.
I think it's because of the rockets. I think the rockets just make it totally not fun. Like I played Red Dead 2 online a lot because I was chasing the trophy for it, and you had to hit level 50. And I was just going nuts with it. And I was actually having fun. I'm like, oh, this is fun to do this and go go after people, get bounties and everything. And you could group up in that, and it was fun. Yeah.
Yeah, I will definitely be picking up Grand Theft Auto 6. I don't care if it's $100. I even told my wife, I said, if it's $100, I'm still getting it launch day.
Right.
And it was kind of funny. She was like, oh, but games always have bugs on launch. I'm like, babe, it's Rockstar. They don't have bugs at launch. They may have like one or two.
I mean, we used to be able to say that about Blizzard games too, and then that quality went down.
Very much so.
So, I mean, you can't say never.
If it's working as intended.
Oh, no, we wanted that. Oh, okay. Right. You wanted me to walk through the wall. Got it.
Right. So.
Yeah, actually, I was playing, what was that? Cyberpunk 2077, and I don't know if I still have the clip up there, but you literally watch a guy walk through a car, like just magically through the car, and I was like, Rachel, this is the future. We can walk through cars in the future.
Probably won't live to see it.
All right. We don't get flying cars. We get cars we can walk through.
It's like you just think about it and you walk through the car. I saw a meme on Facebook. It actually had like from the original Grand Theft Auto Vice City. It was like the cop car was coming out of the ground, and it literally just did that. And somebody put the caption "Fuck the police" coming straight from the underground.
I mean, not wrong.
Yeah. It's like my wife who doesn't even play video games. I showed her that and she busted out laughing. I was like, when non-gamers can totally understand this.
All right.
No, so but Grand Theft Auto 6, I'm getting to be a little scared that they're gonna push that back into 2026 because we've been over a year since the last trailer, and we haven't even had so much as like a batch of screenshots come out from for it now.
Well, I mean, there was a bunch of that shit that leaked,
right?
And then I have to wonder if after it leaked, Rockstar was like, "Well, let's scrap all that and go back to the drawing board." I mean, because the leaks, I didn't quite honestly hear anything bad, like people bitching about Shrek 5, but it's like. If I was to make a game and I had a bunch of shit leaked, I would personally go, well, we're definitely not having that now, because everybody knows what's coming. You want to be surprised as much as possible.
Mm-hmm.
So I have to wonder if the leaks have affected the development at all.
Isn't that kind of like what some of the Marvel movies did too? Like some of the fanboys kind of figured out what like the next plot of the Avengers and stuff were going to go, and then the writers were like, "Fuck you! You figured it out. We're going this way, and you think we're going that way."
I've heard two sides of that where exactly like you had said, the fanboys figured it out. So Marvel was like, "Well, shit, back to the drawing board." But then I've also heard in like some of the later trailers, they've actually put false scenes into the trailer to misdirect.
Right.
Everybody.
I mean, even the last Spider-Man, they completely digitally edited a lot of the photos, though some of them figured it out. Like you could still see Lizard's shadow.
Right.
Right.
They're like, "Oops, you didn't do the greatest job."
Yeah.
But because of them doing that, we will never believe Andrew Garfield again, because he was sitting there going like, "I'm not into Spider-Man. It'd be cool to be Spider-Man. I haven't heard anything about it." And then the next thing we know, he's in Spider-Man. He's in the movie.
I mean, in the theater, watching that, he comes on screen. The entire theater erupted.
Yeah, so did ours.
When you just get those tingles, you're like, "Oh my god, this is like the greatest thing you're seeing with everybody else."
Andrew Garfield is in my opinion, a very underrated actor.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I've only seen him in a handful of things. Spider-Man, obviously. My actual first introduction to him was Heath Ledger's last movie, The Imaginarium of Dr. Parnassus.
Oh yeah, that was really
and
good.
and I was like, man, him as Anton, he was fucking awesome in that. And then he did a show that I think is on Hulu called Under the Banner of Heaven.
Okay.
And it's kind of based on a true story, if I remember correctly. But that was a fantastic. You got to look into that.
He was also in a Mel Gibson written and directed movie called Hacksaw Ridge. Did you ever see that?
I have not. No.
So it's a true story about, I want to say it was World War II. There was a soldier who he got drafted, and he did not want to be over in this war. And he was I want to say he was a real big Christian guy, and he was all against violence and everything. But he was also a medic. So he found out that there were a whole bunch of his guys that were hurt behind enemy lines, but he didn't want to kill anybody. So he found ways to get over into enemy territory, never brought a gun with him. He left all of his weapons, and then he went over and brought his own people back one by one to make sure that they got medical attention. And his whole thing was, they may be the enemy of our country, but they are not the enemy of God. And, he would not touch a gun. And he was even asked, like, what happens if you get killed? He's like, well, then I get killed.
That does sound vaguely familiar.
It does, yeah.
I can't remember if it was up for any awards, but I know it's praised universally. Like, it's one of those where if it didn't win any awards, it should have. I don't know if it did.
I mean, I think everybody had a problem with that. Well, it wasn't they had a problem. It was Sony had a problem, right? Because they were panning out this whole universe. They were going to go. They were bringing in the Sinister Six with those Spider-Man. It was going to be epic. And then him and the execs had a problem, right? He was supposed to be in some sort of meeting and missed it. And so they just kind of shit canned the whole fucking thing. Like, what the hell? Like, everybody was hyped for that. Like, if they would have kept going with that, he could still be Spider-Man right now.
Oh, totally. Out of the three,
not that anything's wrong with Tom Holland, but I wanted to see that because they finally did the Gwen Stacy story. I've been waiting to see that on there, and then they, continue it. They were going to bring in all these villains we have not seen.
So who was the best Spider-Man then, in your opinion? Tobey Maguire, Tom Holland, or Andrew Garfield?
I mean, I have to say, probably Garfield. I would have to say, because he fit the profile on both ends, right? Like, he was Spider-Man, he was also Peter Parker. Like, I don't know. Tobey Maguire's, like, I liked the first two, but then the studio again destroyed the third one by trying to shove Venom in a story that he didn't belong. And the special effects were not
is pretty fucking ridiculous to begin with. So,
I mean, yes, but also the CGI wasn't there.
Oh God, no. You didn't appreciate the dance scene?
Well,
that one was very
I saw this thing that said, it was kind of a joke. It said, hey, want to see me stuff a bunch of villains into this movie? And then it was Spider-Man 3. And then it was like, hey, want to watch me do it again? And it was Spider-Man No Way Home.
Yeah.
So, but the thing was,
at least one better though. Like, they gave each character a little bit so that it made sense. Like, just Brock just showing up. No, like Venom needs the slow burn of know who he is. He's been in a movie. He was kind of a background character. You saw him a little bit. He got shit on or whatever. And then he becomes Venom. You need some build up. And even like the Venom standalone movies, they kind of did it, but again, they never brought it together like they were trying to. I don't know what the hell they were trying to do with that. And then all these
I haven't seen the last one yet.
I haven't either because I'm scared like what they did to it.
Yeah.
Like, it was bad enough they kind of screwed up Carnage. Like, Carnage needed to be rated R. Period. You have Carnage in a movie, he's got to be rated R. I'm sorry.
So I did see the Venom movies. The first one I thought was good. It was like for what they were trying to do. It was good. Yeah. Second one, I thought, they could have gone a little further with Carnage. Because again, I think if they'd have just pushed it for the R rating, it definitely would have helped it. at least story wise. And then the third one I saw, but it seemed like I'll say it's still good. It's the weakest of the trilogy, though. Like they tried too hard to push the comedy and not push Venom as a character.
Okay.
You know, it's like he's now kind of more embraced his whole anti-hero. I'll only kill bad guys. You know, kind of. You know, Dexter like mentality.
What happens in the comics in the Lethal Protector? He does do that, which makes sense. But yeah, I mean that, and I hate the trope of especially any of the comic movies where you have to kill the bad guy at the end for it to be a happy ending. Like, no, they go to jail, they do whatever. That's how it's always been. You don't kill the bad guy because they're going to show up again. You don't know when you're going to need them. Like, and then you have to explain away, well, why are they back?
Well, that's what I really liked about The Dark Knight. Batman didn't kill Heath Ledger's Joker.
Right.
And because I think killing him at the end would have really sullied that whole, I have one rule. I'll make you break your one rule. He didn't make him break his one rule. If Joker had died, that would have sullied the whole thing. Right. I love how they kept him alive. And I think, didn't they keep Scarecrow alive too? Yeah.
Yep. Scarecrow's still alive,
yeah. So like, like people need to take a page from Nolan's book. Like they don't have to die. You can send them through hell.
Like they, especially when you're doing like when you're doing like a PG-13, I think like you've got to have the villain die, just like a Disney movie. Like the villain's got to die to end it, to make everybody, yay, everybody's celebrating type thing. Like I think that's where they get it from.
I mean, because if you think about it, Burton had his, Joker died at the end of his first Batman. Penguin died at the end of his second Batman.
Catwoman
was alluded to, but never they never said.
No, because she had the one life left. Going off that whole thing, and then I actually found out something. I mean, maybe you guys knew this or not, but I know that before Schumacher came in and ruined the whole Batman franchise, Burton was working on a third one that Robin Williams was going to be the Riddler.
Yes. Mm-hmm. And actually they're releasing a book on it.
Are they? Okay.
Yes.
I didn't know that.
They've done a couple things. They've done some comics where it picks up Two-Face. I can't think of the actor.
He was in the Burton films.
Right. The Two-Face that was in the first Burton films. I can't think of his name. They pick up there where he becomes Two-Face. Who becomes Scarecrow? Somebody else becomes Scarecrow, because I was just reading it. I think it was Madonna was going to be Harley Quinn. Like they were just taking these characters.
I can see that.
Where they would be these characters, and they continue the story of that universe. They've also done it with the Superman of '78, continued that in comic book form. They've put out 2 of those, and then there's this new book where it's going to take like what would have been the third film with the Riddler and Robin Williams.
I got it. Billy D. Williams.
Thank you.
He was Two-Face.
Yes, he was the Two-Face for like a little bit. You knew who he was, Harvey Dent.
Yep.
So they take that and actually turn him into it. But yeah, I'm actually looking forward to that book. I think it's like Revelations or something.
The movie I think deserves like an anniversary re-release, like an updated 4K edition, that I'm mad because I can't find anywhere on like HBO Max or Hulu or anything, is Dick Tracy.
Oh yeah. You know why?
Movie.
Who owns the rights to it? It's the Weinsteins, I believe, that own the rights.
Really?
Yeah, and they will. I think I actually read an article where they're like, this will never be released because these guys have the rights to it and they don't want to let go of it.
I mean, the same was said about Dogma, and Kevin Smith finally got the rights to that.
I mean, yeah, let's
get on that. Let's make a campaign to get Kevin Smith to get Dick Tracy. You know what? I'm gonna fucking tweet about that.
That was 1990 when that came out.
I'm gonna tweet about that right now.
Yeah. That was actually, that was a fabulous movie, just for the noir of it, for Dick Tracy as itself, that was a great movie.
Yeah, it was 1990 when that came out, and I was 6 years old. My dad took me to it, and I was sitting there. Again, I'm a kid. I don't understand a lot of this stuff, so I didn't get it. I remember he actually took us out of the theater because I just was sitting there not knowing what was really, going on. And now I watched it when I was older, and I was like, I was a stupid kid. This movie's awesome.
Right.
No, it doesn't look like Weinstein's owned that. It looks like Warren Beatty owns the rights to it.
Oh, that's what it was.
Well, then why not get? I know, and I do know that.
Weinstein... What's he doing these days? He could make money hand over fist on that.
Right.
God, look at the cast on that. Damn.
Yeah.
I forgot.
He's owned the rights to the characters since 1985, and he's doing everything possible to hold on to them.
Yikes. But
what's the point?
Dick Tracy, when did Dick Tracy come out?
1990.
No. I'm talking the comics. The whole thing, when did it start? It had to have been in the 20s and 30s, right? That's
1930s comic strip created by, looks like
so
Chester
you got
Gold.
5 years, and then it's in the public domain, and then he can't do anything, right?
It says here, in 2002, the original Dick Tracy rights holders, Tribune Media, tried to sue Beatty for the rights back. A few years later, Disney admitted that a sequel was never happening and gave up their share of the franchise back to Beatty. This occurred as the legal battle with Tribune was ongoing, finally reaching a conclusion in 2009 when Tribune Media went bankrupt, leading to Warren Beatty as the last man standing holding the media rights for the entire franchise.
Okay, so it looks like in 2027, Dick Tracy will enter public domain.
Okay. So then I mean he'll still have the rights to that version of the movie, but then he won't have the rights to Dick Tracy as a whole. And then know what they're going to do. They're going to turn it into a horror movie and like all the rest.
Here, right? As recently as 2016, the star was talking about a sequel, but now well into his 80s, it's increasingly unlikely he'll put on the trench coat and fedora ever again. So instead, he has produced micro-budget Dick Tracy television specials, typically featuring him appearing in character for interviews. Think like Space Ghost. These specials have aired late at night when no one is watching and are frequently scrubbed from YouTube, making them a bizarre oddity of avant-garde art from one of Hollywood's living legends.
I was going to say, I've never seen anything like that.
I'll bet it's something you maybe find on YouTube, but yeah, I've never seen anything. And speaking of Space Ghosts, I mean, rest in peace to that actor. Yeah.
My man.
Yeah, I'm so sad. That was like another one that was like, wow, right in the childhood. Ow.
Right. Space Ghost Coast to Coast.
Wasn't that the first Adult Swim show?
One of them, yeah.
Yeah.
But he passed away. The actor who did Zorak, he passed away a couple years ago.
I remember that.
I know Andy Merrill is still alive, but yeah,
that was really sad. I watched that and I was just like, that was like, I don't know if that was the first talk show where a lot of celebrities could make fun of themselves, but how many times did Space Ghost get mad and just be like, blast you, or something like that? And I think he did that to Adam West, and I'm like, of course they do it to Adam West.
I'm sure he did it to almost every guy. I know he did it to Hulk Hogan. Yeah, there's. I still quote a lot of shit from that show, and to this day, and what's great is like my kids look at me and they're like, "What?" And my wife's like over on the couch laughing her ass off because she knows exactly what I'm saying, and So
I mean, that just means you got to have a sit down and have them watch it, right?
I'm working on that. So
I don't know. Did you guys see where Chris Pratt? I know, Koimiya, you are not the biggest Chris Pratt fan, but I know there's this thing on YouTube now where Chris Pratt and Millie Bobby Brown are talking about 90s nostalgia things, and he shows her different things from the 90s, and she has to try to figure out like what it does.
Oh, I think I saw a brief thing of that. Yeah, probably for their promotion of that new movie, The Electric State.
Yeah.
Which actually looks pretty decent. And I didn't know they were based on books, so I got to go get those books and now listen to them.
Yeah, my wife just saw this yesterday, and he was like, "Okay, which one of these plays music?" And she was like pointing at like some of the biggest things that he had, and he's like, "No, it's this." And she's like, "Wait, you
Doesn't
had
he
to
say
listen
something
to
about a
this?"
Walkman too?
Yeah, he's like, "You had to listen to these things," and then he was like, "See, that's how the artist structured their song so that it made sense while you were listening because you couldn't jump to the next track. Now you can put on Taylor Swift and go like beep beep, and go to the next song. You can just structure it any way you want." And I saw that yesterday. I was kind of rolling on the floor, just like, wow, she thinks that, she was like looking at this, like, oh, what is this? It's like these huge Apple Macintosh computers that were so clunky and big. And she's like, well, how would you carry this with you? It's like, you wouldn't.
Yeah, I remember like walking home from high school, and when I got my first Discman, and like I would stuff it into my pocket, but it was this thick freaking thing.
Mm-hmm.
And then you just stepped a little wrong and it would still like kind of skip, but not. And I'm like, oh man, like back in those days when you could carry a big old binder of CDs just to like switch out your music.
Mm-hmm. I remember because I used to mow the lawn while listening to my CD player, but I'd have to walk a certain way and have to learn where the hills were at so it didn't step on it wrong. And then, of course, if I was tired of one CD, I'd have to keep my leg over the lawnmower so the lawnmower would keep going and then find a CD.
Right.
Oh man, we say the good old days, but it's like, wow, that sounds terrible. When you,
I mean, it was bad, but it's like what we remember. It's not all like you said. You can't just skip to the next track super easy, or like you're in your car just trying to find a CD to put in there. You're flipping through the book while you're trying to drive, and like, I mean, kids today, they don't even know that cars.
You can have the Visor CD holder.
Yeah, I did. I had the Visor CD. I had like my top 5 or 7 favorite CDs up there. Of course, that's back when they said, "Hey, don't touch this part of the CD, otherwise it'll mold." But then you had to grab it this way out of the Visor. I remember my dad's wife was just like, "Oh, aren't those supposed to last a lifetime?" It's like, well, yeah, if you take care of them. And I was like, who is not walking around with this skip thing? Even if you had the anti-skip CD players, it was still skipping if you hit too hard.
Mm-hmm. Right.
It's like what I feel like we should do things in the 90s that kids today will never experience, like having to walk slow.
Or the old dial-up, listening to the computer connect, like the odds going through, like, man. Or someone picked up the phone while you're on the line, and there goes all your shit you were looking at.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I actually have, and it happened to go off at work one night while I was on a break. But when I get text messages on my phone, it does the old ICQ. And it went off one night at work, and everybody's like, "What the hell was that?" And I'm like, "ICQ," and they're like, "What?" And I'm just like,
"No, it's pronounced ICP."
Yeah,
the old
ICQ was the shit back in the day.
That was way ahead of its time.
Yeah,
ICQ paved the way for Discord.
Yeah,
it really did.
I was actually when I was working at Burger King in Rockford, I remember making a reference to a DMX song, and nobody, like, I was working with like a bunch of like 12-year-olds, it felt like, and nobody had any clue of what I was talking about. I went like, oh, I was like, X gonna give it to you, and they were like, wait, what'd you just say? What does that mean? I'm like, okay.
Yep.
And I just kind of felt like that old guy with the cane, like, I'll go back over here now.
Right.
I gotta go back to my nursing home now.
That's happened a few times. I worked at Potbelly in Madison, and I mentioned the Red Hot Chili Peppers, and they were like, wait, didn't we have some of those for the sandwiches? It's like, oh my God.
I miss Potbelly. I miss Potbelly.
Yes.
I do too. Wait, Neodeath, do you have it where you're at in Ohio?
No, it is not up here.
No, it's not here either. We do have a Culver's though. We have 2 Culver's.
We do have a Culver's, yes.
You should throw a rock and hit a Culver's. You're like a Starbucks here in Wisconsin.
Right, but out here it's like a specialty. No one knows.
See, I think Potbelly's is like in Madison, but I don't. Up where I'm at, I don't have any of that shit. I have to go to Madison to get any of the good old Chicago, any of that Portillo's. I was excited.
We do have a Portillo's here, but it's like an hour and a half away in Michigan.
Yeah, I was excited because for a while there down in the Dells, they had a Five Guys, and I was like, yes, and that closed, and
Five Guys is amazing, but it is way too expensive. Like, I understand the ingredients. I understand that, basically a single burger is actually a double burger. And I get that. You will have to charge a little more for that. But holy shit, I shouldn't have to go there to get food for my wife and I and walk out spending $50.
Yeah.
For you got 2 burgers.
See, and I think that's why it closed in the Dells. Well, 2 reasons. One, it was just so damn expensive. And then 2, I mean, I don't know if you guys have been in the downtown Dells, but where Five Guys was located was like outside of tourist area. And so I think they just didn't survive because when you're on the main strip of the Dells, you have like all the main chain, McDonald's, Taco Bell, Culver's, all that shit. And then you'd have to go kind of out of the way. And then there's Five Guys and there's a Ponderosa, and things like that. But
I think things that I missed from Rockford was Beefaroo.
Beefaroo.
Amazing.
I didn't think I would miss Beefaroo because I was not like a total fan, but
or like from DeKalb, Tom and Jerry's. I miss Tom and Jerry's.
Yes, very much so. I miss Dairy Ripple there too. They're going there in the summertime.
Ollie's frozen custard. Oh, yes. I miss them.
Oh my god.
But
I know we're just sitting here like just totally fangirling over things that we don't even have a stake in. Just if you're ever in that area, definitely go.
See, the last time I can actually tell you, the last time I had Potbelly's was 2 Septembers ago because I was in Chicago to see Baby Metal, and when we were walking to the venue, we were passing a Potbelly's. I'm like, we're fucking going in there. So that's where I had my dinner before the show. So
we
2 years since I've had Potbelly's.
Where I'm at right now, currently, we're actually about 2 hours away from the nearest Portillo's, which is in Indianapolis. Then there's 3 of them there. So anytime we're in the Indianapolis area, Rachel and I make a specific goal to get out there. But anytime you guys mentioned Beefaroo, her family still lives out in the Rockford area. So anytime we go see her mom, if we're there for more than 2 days, I'm like, we are making at least one trip.
2 days. I'd be like, if we were there for an hour, I'm like, well, time to go eat some food. It was nice seeing you. We're gonna go eat now.
And
we used to we would make a specific trip to go up to Michigan. Well, it was like the only place you could get an official Lego store, and it was the only place that had a bricks and minifigs where I could look at used Lego sets. So it was kind of like a 2-in-1 punch. Like, while we're up there for Lego, let's go get some Portillo's.
Aren't you looking at moving back to the Rockford area?
There's a chance. There is talk of the Belvedere plant reopening. So, and I could go back because that is still my plant. But they're not saying. They're saying the information they've put out now is it wouldn't be till probably the end of 2026.
Okay.
So,
who knows? I've said a few times we need to come up and see you. You're only about 5 hours away from us. So I was like, we need to go there. And then I know that you just had the stomach stapling stuff done, but we are still making a trip up to Rochester, Michigan, and getting that pizza, that dragon pepperoni pizza. If you saw that, I don't remember if I sent that to you.
I don't remember that one.
It's basically it's a pepperoni pizza, but all the pepperonis they're basically put on this way, so they go out as like a spiral, and the entire pizza is covered in pepperoni. You don't even there's a lot of cheese on it, but you don't see the cheese because it's all covered in pepperoni. There's not a little spot that even shows the cheese. And I was like, they call that dragon scale pizza, and I say it should be the standard for pepperoni pizza.
I mean, yes. When they say like, I think what the Shaqroni or whatever on for Papa John's, they kind of do it, but it like you said, you still see cheese, you still don't get as much pepperoni as you'd expect to get.
Mm-hmm. So, yeah, I do miss Potbelly. One of the best things. I don't know why I just went back to that, but I do miss Potbelly.
We're all hungry, obviously.
Yes.
One of the things, because I used to work at Potbelly, I worked there for a little under a year, and I had it every day. And yes, it is just as awesome as it sounds. But I would have that, and if you guys ever know any of the secret menu hacks, I know the best way to get a peanut butter jelly and banana shake.
Oh, I didn't know they had a secret menu.
Yeah, if you do, especially for the shake menu, they'll only put up their regular shakes, like the cookies and cream and the chocolate, vanilla, all that stuff. But if you ask them to put in any mix-ins, they will.
Okay.
And what I used to do is I'd get a medium and I would do chocolate, and then you have bananas, which they would put in the real banana, and peanut butter, which is Skippy peanut butter, jelly, which is actually real jelly there because they sold the peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. And then you ask them to put in either, if they have it, specific ones don't have this, but if you ask them to do dairy-free milk, they will, or they'll put in just regular milk, and then you get a peanut butter, jelly, and banana shake, and then you put it in with the chocolate malt stuff, or chocolate sauce if you're doing a shake, or chocolate malt if you're doing the malt part.
I mean, it's kind of like what In-N-Out with their secret menus on animal style on the fries, and
you know what else is steak and shake
style.
Just steak and shake.
Yeah, we don't have a steak and shake here. We actually have a remnant of an old steak and shake, but we do have a White Castle.
Nice. That's Michigan for us. But I think all our steak and shake closed in this area. Like I think from the pandemic, they've all been taken away.
See, that's actually happened in the Dells area before or when COVID hit. Like all the 24-hour restaurants, like Denny's, all of that done, and they haven't redone it since. So it's like where I'm working, we're open, 24 hours. People will come in at like 2 a.m. and they're like, "Hey, where can we go to get some food?" And I'm like, "You're fucking looking at it." if I had the money, I would open up a diner down there in the Dells and just be a 24-hour diner, and you would make money hand over fist.
I mean, that's kind of like the Walmarts, the Myers, all of them that used to be 24. They've not come back. I don't know why.
The Walmart I used to work at was a 24-hour Walmart down in the Dells, and ever since COVID, they close at I think they close at 11. And then reopen at like 6 a.m.
I think they just realized a lot of times people, they don't make so much money. They probably put more money out, like keeping the lights on than they do.
I mean, but you've got the people stocking there anyways.
Yeah.
I mean, if you've got a couple customers that need something, then have it open. They can grab that while they're stocking.
Keep it with don't even do the cashiers, just that self-checkout.
Don't get me started on that. I mean, I went to Meijer a couple of days ago, early in the morning. Like I got out of work early, and it was like 7 a.m. and they had no lines open. So I had to take the stupid self-checkout thing. And I'm like, I hate this. Every bit of this. This is not what I'm supposed to be doing. I give you the money, you give me the food. That's how this works. I don't have to go pick my own fruits from the farm to get it. Like, hello.
You're not paying me to ring my stuff up.
Right. You give me a little discount. I mean, that's everybody's trope on it, right? You give me the discount or the pay, and I'll pay for my own stuff. And they just keep expanding those things, right? So, and like our Meijer, they used to have tons of checkouts. Now it's the self-out checkouts have expanded. And then even then, I bought some Mucinex and it red flagged you because it's one of those medicines. So I'm like, oh, why did I needed somebody's help anyways? You should have just had
Mhm.
someone to check me out.
Mm-hmm. I do that too. If I go to Walmart, if I'm picking up a pack of beer, I literally just will grab somebody if there's nobody that's available. I'll literally grab them and just be like, all right, I'm going to need you over here. And they're like, oh, just let me know when. I'm like, well, this is when. And I'll show them the beer. And I'll
I
be
mean,
like,
I used to do that, like,
This is me letting you know right now.
right. At the Meijer back in Rockford when I would go in, or even Walmart, like they didn't have a checkout. I would literally ask them, "Hey, I need someone to check me out." And if they didn't do it, I would just leave my cart there and walk the hell out. Like, but now, like, you can't even get a hold of somebody that's gonna check you out because there's only the one person that's watching the other people, making sure they don't steal. Like,
right.
I can't see that you don't have more theft with having those self checkouts, right? Like,
Mhm.
there's
Even
no way
accidental theft, you forget
Right.
to scan something.
you forgot something or whatever the case may be. Like, I can't even see that there's not more theft that way or ways to get around it.
Because I've done that actually when it's been kind of cold. I haven't stolen, but I actually did keep my coat in the cart, and and I got everything out and I scanned, I paid for it and everything. And as I went to go put the cart back, I took my coat out and I noticed that there was like a box or like a can of tuna or something that was underneath the coat that had slid. And of course, I'm honest and I'm like, oh shit, I run back there and there's one time even the guy was like, you know what, it's just a 69-cent can of tuna, go ahead and take it, and I was like, yeah, because he just doesn't want to probably deal with this whole thing for 69 cents. So, but yeah, usually I'll just go back and do it, but I'm like, you can't tell me there aren't people who are accidentally putting it under their coat and forgetting.
Or, however you do it.
So Neodeath, I gotta say, when we were talking about food, you sent a message to me shortly after you moved to Ohio, and I'm not even kidding. I think you just said something like, hey, show this to your wife. And I was like, wait, why? You were like, don't ask questions, just do it. I did it, and she had her eyes like widen. You showed me a picture of rallies.
Oh yeah.
And
but the one that used to be by us is gone. I think they're kind of going out too. Like, we don't have that one that was there. They were actually really good.
The one here is renovating, so I don't know if they're all going out or maybe just in certain areas. But yeah, the minute you said that,
it was kind of in a crappy spot where it was. It was just like a little hole in the wall type thing on a wall, like Walmart's parking lot. But
yeah, so we have one just right down the
really
road.
Good.
We have one right down the road. We don't go there all the time. We did when we first moved here, but we don't go there all the time. But we just had them for the first time in like a few months.
Nice.
Their fries are awesome. My wife's usually like, oh, the chicken strips are great. She's not a big fan of their burgers, but she loves their chicken strips and those fries. And I'm like, yeah, that's like when you've just had a bad day and you're about ready to punch the wall. Just
comfort food.
So
yeah, I mean, since I've had the surgery, I haven't done a lot of fast food. I have like McDonald's breakfast a couple times when I get off early. But
you're disappearing. I don't know if you noticed your face.
We've definitely gotten off track here.
Yeah, that happens all the time on the show. But anyway, back to video games and stuff.
And food. You didn't know this was a food channel.
Maybe we should do that, like Garbage In, Garbage Out, the food channel.
I mean, yes.
This week we are reviewing Pizza Hut.
Oh, I think I'd rather eat the cardboard than the pizza comes in.
Pizza Hut here has gotten better. I don't know if they've done something to it or if it's just here, but it seems like they've gotten better. It's just there's so many other pizza places to choose from now. When we were growing up, it was just Little Caesars, Domino's, and Pizza Hut.
Yeah.
Right. Or maybe a mom and pop's one.
Yeah.
In your town. But yeah, there's just too many of them, especially up here. Now even up here, you got even more. You've got Jets. There's tons of them out here. I've never even heard of them. I'm like, what the hell?
Yeah, I'm the big pizza fan, and there's a bunch of pizza places here we haven't tried, but the best one we have is called Mr. B's. It's right down the street from us. Here's the thing, though. I love the thick crust for it. Rachel's a bigger fan of the thin crust.
Hmm.
So a lot of times
Like
we're sitting there
thick,
debating.
like Chicago style. Or
Not
just-
not quite as big, but more like more like a pan pizza.
okay.
I've always told people, like, what's the difference between the pan style and Chicago style? And I'm like, because the Chicago style has like the cheese that just pulls and pulls
Right.
and pulls.
We
and
actually
pulls.
found out here. There's a pizza place out here called Pizza Populous that is just like Giordano's pizza, like
Oh,
to a T. Like, and I'm okay with that because they don't have those around here either. I think there's one in the closest one I have is one in Indiana. It's like 2 hours away, the other direction.
for my birthday, my mom actually sent me those Taste of Chicago boxes, and it had 2 thin crust pizzas and 1 Chicago style sausage. And man, I miss Chicago style. It's it's like when you live in Kentucky here, and actually I spend most of my time in Indiana because we're right on the border. It's like when somebody says Chicago style and then you have it and you're just like, Chicago style imitation. This is not Chicago style.
They're trying, but they're not getting there.
It's like I A for effort, but but anyway, I know you and I, Connor, we were talking about this in the group here. Amaranth, everyone's favorite punching bag, it seems like, but she kind of brings it on herself.
Oh, totally.
Just to be totally honest. Brian, did you hear about this? Nita?
I think I briefly skimmed through the article that we posted.
Yeah. So right here, Houston crime. Her home was targeted in a home invasion. Now, without reading this whole thing, basically it sounds like masked men went in there. She claims that she was pistol whipped, yet somehow sent out like 3 tweets while being pistol whipped. And
Tweets, mind you, she didn't contact the police or anything like that. She was tweeting.
yeah. And she said she
Like
didn't
you.
call the police. It was her husband, apparently her husband, who she was supposed to leave. Yeah, see, he screams, I got shot after. She's tweeting this whole thing instead of calling the police. And so I do believe something happened, but I don't believe her story because she made it sound like she was the one that shot the gunman, and she never was. It was her husband, who apparently she was supposed to leave. Apparently, they went in there and demanded crypto, which, okay, criminals are stupid. We can all say that. But crypto, that means that they would have had to give her their phone.
Right.
And then,
That's why she had her phone, supposedly, is because they were going to have her use her phone to unlock her account.
mhm.
So while she's supposedly unlocking her account, she's tweeting that she's being held at gunpoint instead of, texting anybody for help or anything like that. Now, here's the thing that I just gut check makes me question everything.
Uh-huh.
Okay, first of all, her husband. Her husband, a couple years ago, she was going on this big thing about her husband was abusive and controlling her streams, and he was the one that was making her do the hot tub streams and things like that, and verbally abusive and physically abusive and all of that. And she was going to get this huge divorce.
Right.
All of a sudden, we talked things out and we're sticking together. So there was that whole aspect. Then she's had other controversies as well of embellishing things and blowing shit up out of nowhere and things like that. The second thing that strikes me as odd is she supposedly these 3 guys broke into her home and dragged her from her bed. The video she shows is her outside walking. Now, mind you, this is after she was supposedly pistol whipped. She's not, like limping or crying for help or anything like that, walking to this other room where her husband was then hiding to get the jump on these guys. Where was he when she was being dragged from the bed?
Mhm. And pistol whipped.
And pistol whipped and all of that. You'd think she'd be screaming for help then. If you watch the video, you can see her dogs, which she has, I believe, 2 Huskies and a German Shepherd.
Jeez.
Okay. These dogs are not acting like these are aggressive men chasing after her. These dogs are running around with their tails wagging in a playful mood, almost like, they know these guys. So that kind of, like, it's not appropriate canine behavior.
Right.
Then the next thing is she claims she shot the guy. Cops are saying the husband shot the guy. Who shot the guy? Did they actually shoot somebody? Now, I did read that the door was full of bullet holes and there was a blood trail. But that's the next thing. When these guys come running out, if you watch the video, they don't scatter like people being fucking shot at. They run out in a single file line and all take off in the same direction. Almost like it was rehearsed. Like, it's just, there's so many things about this that make me go, no. And then on top of that, you had earlier in the evening 3 other female live streamers who were followed and harassed on their stream and like threatened on their stream. And it just seems like one more thing for Amaruth here to try and focus the attention back on her. Like, because this story blew up and you don't hear anything else about these 3 other girls that got harassed on their stream.
Right.
And then the police department reports, okay, shots were fired, there is a blood trail, and that's it. There's no hospital reports of a person coming in that got shot. There's no, there's no anything else. And it's just like, I don't know. There's too many red flags in my gut that just go, this was a setup. This is faked. And
just to get her back in the limelight, or
yes, she's not, ever since she switched to Kick, she left Twitch, she went to Kick, and she has an OnlyFans, and it's just like, she's making money hand over fist, but she needs to constantly stay in the limelight.
And she owns gas stations. I think she owns some other businesses too.
She has some car washes too, I believe, or something. Like, she's not dumb. Like, I will give her credit. Financially, she is very intelligent.
Mm-hmm.
And that's just one more reason why I'm like, this is just one more thing to bring back the light onto her so that she can make more money. I don't know, but just it's not.
See, and I've said before, especially on the page, like, she is one of the smartest business women that I know. I don't know her personally, but she's one of the smartest business women that I've heard of. She's not just sitting there blowing it on vacations and fast cars and this and that. She's actually putting it into, things that are going to generate more wealth and, that she can pass on. I get that. That's cool. But at the same time, it just seems like you're doing this at the expense of basically her soul. It's like she's lying. She lies about everything.
Yeah, she had some controversy a couple of years back about like supposedly Kanye West was DMing her and things like that, and just there's a lot of past controversies that just make me go, here's another one. Like. And, and don't get me wrong, if this did really happen, I feel bad for her.
Mm.
But
that's the problem. She's ruined her own credibility, right?
Exactly.
Like, you can't take it at a face value of, oh, well, yeah, that really happened.
Yeah, and she's tried to silence like YouTube pages. Like one, when she was trying to pretend like she wasn't married, one YouTube page actually found out that she was and published it and said, here's all of our findings, here's all of our credibility. And then she went and tried to have them have their whole page taken down. And then it came out that she was married. It was like literally they asked you, you avoided the question. I get that. You're trying to get a public image going here. And then but then all of a sudden she was like trying to take legal action against them. And I'm like, so she's going that far to try and silence people from saying the truth. What's to say that this is as true as she said? Again, there is a police report. So I believe something happened. I just don't think it happened the way that she wants you to think it happened.
Dude, like if you scroll down a little bit.
Okay. This to her tweet.
Like, Yeah, like if you can play that video,
Yeah.
okay, like
That's small.
I don't know if you can, yeah.
That's
So
not a
like you
good
can
thing,
see
is
the
it?
dogs in the background, kinda.
Yeah, look, they're running
And they're
around.
not even like running. Like, okay, does that look like a person that's been pistol whipped? Would you be running that slow? And then like the dogs aren't attacking at all,
Oh, sorry.
you know. And then,
Then that's it. Then they just
well, no, you'll see them when they leave.
It looks like
If you were being shot at, would you run out like that?
No, you just scatter.
More like a
Yeah.
jog than an actual run.
Yeah. It's just, and then afterwards,
I mean, they only
if you were
take
the
it till
husband,
they
if
get
you were the
punched back.
husband with a gun, would you not be chasing after them?
I was just saying, wouldn't you?
Nobody
come out?
comes out. You know, like I don't know. It just doesn't sit right with me.
Yeah. So, sorry.
Infinite.
Yeah, and here it says the victim reported that the suspects demanded access to her cryptocurrency account, but were unable to access it. Well, okay, here's the thing. They would have had to give her the phone, or she would have had to access it from her phone. And the minute they get cryptocurrency, they can see when that gets transferred, who it's transferred to, everything. And when it's spent, you can see who's spending it. I mean, that's more
Not very-
traceable than cash.
I was just
You know?
saying, not very smart.
And see, it says right there. It says right there. The victim reported that she led suspects to an area where her husband was knowing her husband had a weapon. Okay, well, where was he the whole time that they were being pistol whipped? Well, she
Yeah.
was being pistol whipped. You know, if he had a weapon, why didn't he fucking bust in the room and just start firing shots at them then?
Right.
Yeah, it just.
Officials say the husband fired weapons, and they believed they may have struck one of the suspects. The suspect then fled the scene, and the victim was taken to the hospital with non-life-threatening injuries. Yeah. And then, of course, the suspects have not been identified. Division investigating the incident. We get that. But still, yeah, so it's again, if this is real, if she was actually attacked and her husband, I feel bad. There's just too many things that point to maybe they were attacked, maybe it got out of hand, but there's too many things that point to this was staged.
Yeah, maybe it was friends or something,
Yeah.
and they gotta cover it up or whatever.
Or maybe they said, hey, we'll do this and then we'll split our cryptocurrency with you, or something.
Yeah.
They were getting something out of it.
Right. Yeah. All I see when those people are leaving is Three Stooges or the Benny Hill music just starts up.
Right. Yakety Sax playing in the background.
Right.
Maybe we should save that to our computer and edit that in there.
Right. Like.
Yeah, so I mean, I've said it many times. I actually, I used to like her streams. When she first started, she would actually just be a video game streamer, and she was pretty cool. Then all of a sudden, she got into this hot tub stuff, and I was like, okay. And eventually, it just became. Then when she started doing the fart jars,
you play to your
yeah, you do play to
audience. Like you
Yeah.
know that there's younger guys watching you because it's video games and whatnot. Like, but. I don't know. I mean, if that's what you want to do and that's your thing, I guess. But I mean, you got to have some credibility. Like, was she's trying to say that, oh, I never had a husband like back in the day when obviously she was married, like to try and keep that like the fantasy alive that like any guy can still be with her or whatever. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, that's just not gonna work. Like. Somebody's going to find out at some point.
And I mean, it worked for quite a while until apparently he was going to like hurt her dogs or something like that.
I don't know. Then it just starts to spiral, right? Like you said, you just lose credibility on what is real, what is the fake narrative or whatever for your views. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know.
So here's in October 2024, she claimed that Kanye West had sent her direct messages on Instagram inviting her to hang out and listen to his upcoming album Vultures. She posted screenshots of these alleged messages onto X, showing a message from an account purportedly belonging to Kanye, dated September 5th, saying, "Hit me when done." She responded with question marks, appearing confused. However, this sparked immediate skepticism online. Many users pointed out inconsistencies, suggesting the account in the screenshots was fake. Notably, the account showed following her back, while Kanye's verified Instagram account did not. Critics accused her of fabricating the interaction for attention, dubbing it as clout chasing. Let me see here. You know,
And why
This
clout
included-
chase? I mean, she's famous
Right.
enough.
yeah. Public reaction to the situation was mixed, but largely critical of her. Comments on X ranged from calling her out for lying to mocking the idea that Kanye would even know who she was.
You never know with Kanye.
I mean, no.
Yeah. So I mean, that's just like she stirs shit up all the time, and so this is just again. I feel bad for saying this because if this really did happen, that fucking sucks. But did it? Did it?
I like that. This happened. You sure?
So
I award you no points, and may God have mercy on your soul.
right.
Sorry, I just had to do that one there. But yeah, there was another story here that I wanted to talk with you guys about. I know that we've all been fans of The Daily Show. We've all been fans of Jon Stewart. Jon Stewart is, honestly, I know he does a lot of this stuff for comedy, but I think he is probably one of the smartest people on TV, especially with the people that are on TV nowadays. But yeah, so you guys heard about this. I know we were talking about this before the show. But yeah, Jon Stewart is now calling out Elon Musk for flaking on a Daily Show interview. Now, just a very brief story on that. Jon Stewart said he'd like to interview Elon Musk. Musk said he would only do it if Stewart and Comedy Central agreed to air the interview completely unedited.
I mean,
Stewart agreed.
Most of their interviews are unedited anyway. And
That's what he
other
said.
than-
That's how
the
they
time.
do them anyways.
I mean, it's like, I've watched episodes where it's like, to see the full interview, go here, because it's only a 1 hour show. But,
I mean, he even made a joke about it. Like, he's like, Common System doesn't have anything else. So, yeah, we can air it all the way out there.
Yeah, I saw that. He's like, we can go until the next new South Park, which isn't until like next year or some shit. And,
Right.
But it's like, and getting with you saying that Jon Stewart's a very smart man. I don't doubt that. I highly agree. He also has got one hell. You got to give credit to his editing team, or not editing team, but like his fact checkers or whatever, going back and saying, when a person's like, oh, I never said that, and he's like, roll the clip, those people finding that exact point in time when the person said that, his team is fantastic. His team is phenomenal. Now, when I first, because I think wasn't it initially Elon that said he would do it before even Daily Show brought up the idea of it?
And I think they were making jokes about Jon Stewart or something, and he said, "Oh, maybe I'll go do an interview."
And as soon as I saw him say that he would do an interview, I instantly went, "That's never going to fucking happen." Something's going to come up, or he's just going to fucking back out, or whatever. And then when Jon Stewart's like, "Hell yeah, let's do this," I was just waiting for that shoe to drop, going, "Oh, it's not going to happen." This is like.
I tried PoE too, and I spend all my hours on that, so I can't do it. Yeah.
Yeah. And it's just like it just cracked me up that, like I said before the show, I said this is my shocked face of when Elon announced that he's not going to do it.
Right. Yeah. Because he said that he would do it. Then all of a sudden it was, I think Viacom even agreed to it. Like, didn't they come out publicly and said, yeah, we'll do it? I think Comedy Central said they would do it. And now all of a sudden he's like, oh, I think his exact words were Jon Stewart can't be trusted. It's like, okay. In all honesty, yeah, Jon Stewart seems like he's more of a Democrat, and that's fine. And, with Musk working for the Republicans, you're going to have that clash. But it's it's
the
not
Republicans are working for him. He paid them.
Yeah, true. But I mean, you can't. Yeah, you're going to have that clash, just like you're going to have on any one of those politically charged shows. You're going to have that clash. But I'm like, yeah, but Stewart seems like he would probably nail Musk to the wall, and Musk knows it.
Right. No, it was just as bad as who was that guy that did the? It was like the stocks show, and he always had like the loud, noisy, obnoxious like sound effects and shit like that. He was some sort of stocks guy, and
I think it was Fox Money or something like that.
Something like that, and it was the same thing where he's like, "Yeah, I'll go on the Daily Show," and not because Jon Stewart was ripping his ass every week or whatever, and so Stewart's like, "Good, name the time," and then all of a sudden it was like, "Oh, you know, I think I'm knitting socks that night or some shit," you know. And so.
Yeah, I'd love to go on and be interviewed by Jon Stewart. Then again, I have the same ideology as Jon Stewart. We'd probably sit there and get along the whole time and be like, yeah, you're right.
Right.
But yeah, it's like right here. He says, you give me too little credit. Again, the guy who custom made his own dark MAGA hat that he wears to, is that what, Apine? In the Oval Office with the president who he spent $270 million to elect, thinks I'm too partisan. I'm really not sure what he thinks bipartisan means. Yeah.
That pretty much says it.
Yeah, and of course, this whole thing with Zelensky too. It's like, wait, why are people ripping on Zelensky for not wearing a suit to the Oval Office when Musk has literally given interviews, taken over interviews from the president while wearing a shirt that says tech support? Like, doesn't he like wear that in an overcoat and like a hat or something like that? It's like,
now, having said that, just looking at that image, methinks Jon Stewart's hitting the orange a little too much.
yeah, he's oranger than Trump in this picture.
He's hitting the orange a little too much there, guy.
Cut down on the vitamin C, cut down on the orange juice.
A little jaundice there. I don't know. Like, I've never seen him look that bad before.
I think this might be the lighting, but you can actually get the skin pigment by eating too many carrots and tomato juice.
I do, but not calling a spade or anything, but all the jokes about Trump using orange to an extent. And here's Stewart looking like a fucking Oompa Loompa as well. Like, I just... and that's one thing I do give Stewart credit for is, like, he will call out anybody and everybody about their bullshit, Republican, Democratic, Independent, whatever. Well, I'm going to sit here, I'm going to call them out right now on this image.
Mm-hmm.
That
if you get Stewart... Yeah, he will admit when he's wrong. That's one of the things I like about him, too, is, like, he's not afraid to admit when he's wrong. And then he'll make jokes at his own expense.
Totally, yeah. I wonder if he approved that thumbnail, because Jesus Christ.
But you make a joke about Trump, you just go like, your hair looks weird. He's like, well, I never want to talk to you again. I'm going to make 700 tweets about you.
Yeah.
And wasn't Melania's stance like, how the first ladies always have like some sort of agenda that they push? Like, I know Michelle Obama did nutritional foods. I think Jill Biden had some things about like teaching children. Wasn't Melania Trump's like against like online bullying? And I'm like, have you met your husband?
Right.
Or do you just stand for photo ops?
How about you start with your husband first, and then we'll work on the rest of the internet.
Yeah. I just really wanted to get your guys' opinion on that. Like I said, I know we've all been Jon Stewart fans. All of us have sat there and watched The Daily Show. I loved Jon Stewart in Death to Smoochie because he was basically just playing himself.
Yeah, my favorite role was him in Half Baked. You ever look at the back of a $20 bill on weed? Who's that behind the bush? I don't know.
Yeah, we do have a clip here that I use against Koimi every so often from Half Baked.
Move this man!
He'll say he likes something that I'm like, that's an unpopular opinion, and I always throw that up. I'm like, boom.
That's usually whenever I go on one of my hills to die on.
We should. I don't know. We should actually just go through all the clips here.
Yeah. Some other time. What else do we got?
No, there was only just 2 other gaming stories that we had to go through. Hold on, let's do a proper transition.
Think about it.
Yeah, actually, Charlie made that when he was first on here, and he put it SEGWAY. And when we looked it up, it was like, wait, that's that little bike thing or whatever that little motorized thing.
Handlebar.
Yeah. It's like they segue to go from one thing to the other is actually spelled like this, and then we just sat there like just messing around with it. But anyway, did you guys ever play The Last of Us?
Yes.
What's that?
I eventually played it. I was against it when it first came out.
The first one or both of them?
Yes. I played both of them. But like when
I
it
haven't
first
played the
came out,
second yet.
I didn't play the first one, and then I played both of them.
What'd you have against it? What was your reasoning behind that? I'm curious. What was your reasoning behind not wanting to play?
I get in those moods where people are like, this is the best game ever. You have to play it. And I'm like, I'm not playing that game.
Oh, and I've got 2 words for you. Alpha Protocol.
I think I played that one finally.
Yeah, because I told you to. Because it's a great fucking game. And you were all like, this is a piece of shit.
I'll admit, same thing happened with me. You know, you mentioned Doki Doki Literature Club, and I didn't
wrong about that.
Yeah, I didn't touch it for like months. I had it, and I didn't.
Was
touch
I
it for
wrong
months.
about that?
No,
Exactly.
no. That was seriously one of the greatest mind fucks. Where it was just like, huh, what? Huh?
Yep.
Good God, there's a lot of teen suicide. In
Sometimes India knows what he's talking about.
Yeah, but usually you're ranting and raving about something. So we're like,
Was I? You know what? I do have to laugh though, because you know how I'm always. This movie looks like hot ass. This movie looks like trash. This movie looks fucking horrible. You guys are always
anything
time about that.
Chris Pratt.
But here's the best part. So you know how Facebook has those on this days?
Mhm.
Yeah.
So I was laughing my ass off because the other day I found one of me where I had said something about Morbius looking cool. And you guys are like, oh shit, look at this. He's saying something looks good. And fucking Morbius.
Yeah, that didn't age well.
So,
That
yeah.
movie was. I don't want to say it was the worst thing ever, but I'll just say it wasn't the best.
Honestly,
Craven's
I haven't
gotten-
watched that one just because of all the critiques on it. I mean, I should probably watch it just for the laugh factor at it.
Yep. I want to watch it just so I can exactly see how bad it is.
The last one
Craven's
was
already.
Craven. I wanted to see that one actually in theaters, and then they just completely tore it apart. And I'm like, fuck, that one actually looked good from the trailer.
Yeah.
And
I
they
saw
went
that.
for the full R rating. It's like you had the potential,
Right.
Yeah.
How'd you
just
screw it up?
I want to see the Borderlands movie just to see how bad it is. I haven't watched it yet.
Yeah, that's another one that had the potential. You needed the rated R. You had to have the rated R, or it was not going to work.
And you had to have the blood, the guts, the gore. And apparently, Eli Roth says when they greenlit that movie, they greenlit it as a hard R. And apparently, some of the cast have said they filmed a lot of those kill scenes to be as gory as possible, and they edited that out to get to
Oh, yeah, then they need to partition or something to get a
Director's cut.
director's unedited cut out somehow so that the fans can have that, and then they would probably enjoy it.
You did it for the Snyderverse or the Snyder cut of what was that? The Justice League. So put it out.
Right.
But yeah, so with The Last of Us, like I was talking about here, Neil Druckmann is saying don't bet on there being a Last of Us 3. But earlier, here's another thing, another one where the guy just backtracks. Where earlier he said there may be a third game. They're working on storyboards.
I mean, he
Or
also said the
story
same
ideas.
thing about part 2. Don't bet on a part 2. You know, he initially was like, part 1 is a great enough standalone story which it is. I mean, I'll admit I have part 2. I haven't played it yet. It's in my backlog of 50,000 games. But he initially was saying the same thing after part 1. Don't bet on a part 2.
And then he said, then he came out that they'd been working on a part 2 since the end of part 1.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm more looking forward to the show. The show has just been fantastic.
The show's fantastic.
That, and I'm looking forward to Intergalactic, the Heretic Prophet.
Yep, that looks really good too.
That's another one of those ones where the internet just went boo, and I'm like, what was wrong with that trailer? Like,
it was a woman,
right? But
bald woman
with a bald head.
Just because it's that doesn't mean the whole game is shit.
Yep.
I think the problem is Druckmann tries to push a lot of his stuff. Like, he's not very good at misdirection. You pretty much catch him in outright lies. One of the biggest problems I think people had was when they were doing The Last of Us Part 2. First they flat out said it wasn't happening like they're doing with 3, and then it was coming. And then they did a trailer for it that showed Joel in parts of the game that he was never part of. And then when they did where they give like the early copies to people, they put them under this NDC saying, okay, you can give your early reviews, but you can't talk about, almost 3/4 of the game. And they every reviewer was like, the fuck am I supposed to do then? How am I going to give an honest review if I can't talk? They couldn't even say Abby was a playable character. They couldn't even say she was in the game. And it was like, Abby's Abby's a good portion
because it would spoil the surprise on some of that.
But then don't give early copies. Just say we're not doing that for this game. Bigger games have done that before.
They have,
because they didn't want things spoiled.
But they need the reviews. They need the word of mouth to churn it up business to keep going.
Yeah, but then
I mean, with the amount of success that the first one had,
I guess, yeah, maybe not with a part 2, but if you're going for a part 1,
yeah. If it was a brand new IP, I could see that.
I could say, okay, don't say who it is and don't say, the big things that happen, but I would at least give them the okay to say you might not play just as Ellie, or you might not play as Jolie. You might not play as Ellie and Joel. You might play as other people. Give like that almost gives a tease into the brain instead of just being like, well, this is the game. Like, no. And then I know another part was, and this is kind of getting into that whole movement thing, was there were characters in there that were transgender that were like the one character that was transgender in The Last of Us Part 2. They take like a good couple minutes to give a whole backstory on it. But I was like, when I saw the game, I was like, having that backstory and how that character acts when you first meet them, that little bit of a backstory that they give in a cutscene makes it make sense. Right. So who cares about that? That actually makes their whole story that much more tragic. So it's not like it was just in there to be in there. Now all of a sudden they put out, the Intergalactic Heretic Prophet, and everybody sees a bald woman who I think is not white. I think it's actually a black woman that does the motion capture and everything, and everyone's just like, oh, this is more woke stuff, and I'm like, no, it's not. This is literally just, it looks like Guardians of the Galaxy kind of,
right?
So
and again, it's only like a small little trailer. You don't know what it's going to be like. Maybe that's not even the main character. Like, maybe
no gameplay whatsoever.
Yeah, but again, I have not seen the Last of Us TV show just because I haven't had Max. I am now going to upgrade my subscription so that I get Hulu, Disney Plus, and Max. So yeah, I'm actually really, that's probably one of the first things I'm going to watch. That's actually also why I never watched the last season of Game of Thrones, which doesn't sound like I missed much.
Nope. You did not miss much. Leave it where you left it and move on.
It was all up until the last season that I saw. That's the seasons you let me borrow. Remember? Yeah. So,
but if you haven't seen, definitely check out. Well, I mean, it's not on Hulu, Disney, or on HBO, but on Amazon, the Fallout. Fallout is fantastic.
I saw the first 2 episodes when I was at my brother's house. I got to watch the rest of that.
Yes. Like they're actually doing pretty decent on TV shows and whatnot. Because also Twisted Metal was actually pretty good, and I was surprised. I thought,
Yeah.
how do you turn that into a TV show? But they did an awesome job, and I'm actually looking forward to the second season where they're going to add in a bunch of characters.
Anthony
Yep.
Mackie is great in pretty much anything he does now.
Yeah, I mean, I really like him as an actor.
He was in a episode of one of those Netflix shows. That one where it's kind of like an anthology series. It's not the OA, I don't think, or maybe it is. You know what? Now I'm gonna say, Black Mirror. He was in he was in an episode of that. Yeah, he was in one episode of Black Mirror, and I thought that was probably the best episode that they had. It was actually kind of video game focused. They kind of have this thing where they put on like a VR headset, but it's more like it's more of like a mind thing that they put in your head, and then he can go in there and play this game, and he plays it with a friend of his, and he ends up having an affair through the game, but not with his actual body. And then it's kind of like messes them up in the mind. Like, okay, do they have this connection? Did they actually cheat on their wives? You know, it's like it was in their head, but they felt it. But it's actually it's a really interesting thing. Definitely check it out if you haven't already.
I think I've seen all of those except for like the newer seasons, like where they had the interactive one. I didn't do that one. And then like I think they've put out another season after that. I haven't watched that one.
Yeah, I didn't do the interactive, and they have one more season that just came out like last year, I want to say.
Yeah.
I haven't seen that one yet either.
Yeah,
that's the thing I tell my wife. I'm like, we really got to see the last season, and she's like, do you know how many seasons of how many shows we loved?
I mean, the other thing is you get on your TV and you've got Max, you've got Paramount, you've got all these streaming services, Prime, and you're like, there's nothing to watch. It's too much content to take in. You're like, I don't know what I want to watch. I want to watch it all, but I can't watch it all. Like we have a hard time trying to pick shows. And then when you finally settle on something, you're like, oh man, this is awesome. Why the hell didn't I watch this earlier? Well, I couldn't make up my mind and couldn't sift through all these freaking shows.
Yeah, remember we used to just have Netflix. Then it was Netflix and Hulu. Great. Then it was like Netflix, Hulu, Disney Plus. Okay. Now it's like
now everyone has one, and each one's charging its own thing, so you can't have them all. It's almost more expensive to have that than it would be if you still had cable. Like that was what cable was supposed to be. It was supposed to cut the cord and you could watch whatever you want. And then that's what these were supposed to be. And it's just now you've got the ones where the ads are in there, so you have to pay to get freaking ads out of there. Like, so stupid. Like, you're just going to outcharge yourself where people are not going to do that. They're going to go back to Kodi or whatever to illegally start watching this stuff again.
I should probably mention we do not condone illegal activities online. That you know of. Yeah, and there was really just one other story for the week that I thought was pretty interesting here. It's been teased pretty heavily that a lot of Xbox games are going to go on to PlayStation. And I guess Gears of War on PlayStation 5 was quietly teased just recently. I just want to ask, what do you guys think about being able to play something like Gears of War, Halo, things like that are supposed to be Xbox exclusives, Xbox and PC, so it's not really exclusive. But what do you think of playing those on a competitive console? It kind of negates the purpose of even having an Xbox, in my opinion.
I mean, yeah, is it just a cash grab? That's why they're finally doing this? That all these mergers they've done, they've run out of money, and so now they're like, all right, well, we know we can make money with this, right? People, like, I've never played Gears of War, never touched the thing because it was always on Xbox, and I always didn't want to have an Xbox.
You really should, though. If they go to PlayStation, this should be the first.
I mean,
game
if they go to PlayStation, because I like their controller better. I like their system better. They've always been just a little bit ahead, kind of like the Apple Samsung thing. Samsung has always been a little bit ahead of Apple, and Apple's always tried to steal that tech eventually. But yeah, I mean, I played a little bit of Halo back in like the old days when it was 2. We used to when I was at work, like on lunch, 4 of us would take over the break room, and we had a TV. We'd bring in an Xbox, and we'd all play Halo and just kill each other while we were on lunch. And everybody knew not to go in the break room because we are in there doing that. Like, so I've played that, but but it was just like, it wasn't the story. It was just us killing each other.
Yeah. Connor, were you ever a big Xbox fan? Or a fan of at least like Gears of War or any of these big ones?
So in the past, when I was younger, many moons ago, I was strictly PlayStation. I've gotten older and kind of moved out of that whole console war phase.
Yeah.
And now I have everything. I've got the PlayStation 5, I've got the Xbox Series X, I've got a Switch, I've got the PC.
Let me interrupt you real quick. The thing I have with that though is like, so I have a Switch and I don't mind it, but what do I play on it? 3 games: Mario, Metroid, Zelda. Like, those are my 3 series I play on it, and then everything else I can play on my PS5, where it has better graphics or it has a controller that I like better. Like, that's the problem I had. If I had all of them, like, what am I going to play that's so great on the Xbox? I think the only thing that I would really like to get ported over would maybe be Fable, because that was always the one that always everybody talked about for role-playing games, that it was awesome.
Fable's fantastic.
Yeah. So, I mean, like, I guess the same thing. You're going to have what? Your Halos, your Gears of War, Fable, like, you're stuck with those 3 games, and then then you go back to your main system or whatever.
Okay, but I mean, the argument could be made the same though for the PlayStation. You've got your Uncharted, you've got your Spider-Man, you've got your God of War, Horizon. So it's like, I mean, I get why exclusives are needed, but at the same time, like, especially in the case of Gears of War, or if Forza, Forza 5 is coming to the PlayStation as well, and I don't have a problem because these are games that have come out so many years ago. If they were to say, well, actually, I think they are doing this, is like the next Gears 6, and this is why the remasters are coming to the PS5, is because they want Gears 6 on the PS5 as well. Okay, I can see why people would be pissed off because it's a Xbox game. It needs to be on Xbox first, blah, 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 blah. Microsoft is going the way of Sega, in my opinion. They are going to move away from consoles. I mean, look at their campaign of it's an Xbox, and like, you can play it on my TV, you can play it on a phone, you can play it on this, you can play it on that. You just need a Game Pass, If it was a brand new IP that Xbox has been toting heavily, then yeah, I could see why people would be pissed off if it was releasing. And I am a firm believer that I think some of these older PlayStation titles should go over to Microsoft. Yeah. They should go to the Xbox. Spider-Man should go over to the Xbox. Horizon. I think Horizon would make a killing on Xbox. It's just,
maybe give them a 5-year lifespan on the
something
console.
like that. Yeah, and I don't know. I think that it's like, I understand the need for consoles exclusives, but I think it's a stupid concept at the same time. I
mean, it just fuels the flames of fanboys, right? Like,
yeah.
Oh, we've got this, so we're better, or whatever.
And it's like, when I look back on the whole 360 era, everybody was going on and on about all the indie titles. like, oh, we've got Limbo, we've got this, we've got that. And then as soon as PlayStation got it, it's like, oh, who cares? It's just an indie game,
Yeah.
and it's like, but then at the same time, they're crying because they want Ratchet and Clank. They want this, they want that. Well, Insomniac puts out a fucking great game on the Xbox, Sunset Drive or Sunset Overdrive or whatever it was. And I would love for that to come to PlayStation. I think it would make
Oh
a
my
hell
God.
of
Yes.
killing on there. But
I have actually messaged Insomniac through X being like, dude, do it, and but apparently during that hack, they actually found out that I guess it only made about a $700 profit for Insomniac, so there's not really a big incentive for them to make a new one. But I'm like, dude, if you were to just update the graphics a little bit and put it on PS5, it would fly off the shelves, I think. Digital shelves at this point, but it would fly off the shelves. And if you do a sequel, you put it on both systems.
See, I think they need to do a new Infamous.
Yes.
Oh man. That series definitely fell out. I wish they would have done more with that series.
I'm surprised that they didn't do a new a Resistance.
Wait, before you get out of that picture, doesn't that guy on that video look like Mark Ruffalo? Like he's about to Hulk out.
Like he got stuck in the middle.
I was thinking he looked kind of a little Thanos-y like.
Oh yeah, I mean I guess.
But yeah, Mark Ruffalo as Thanos,
Yeah, kind of. I was seeing this. I was like, wait, is this like him now? And this was him in the past? Because it kind of looks like the same
I think
face,
it's Marcus in the background.
Yeah, it is.
Isn't that Marcus? Yeah.
Yeah, that's Marcus. I think that's his dad, or I forget. This was the Gears 5 campaign, so and I haven't.
Yeah, I didn't
Gears 5
play.
in a long time.
I only played the first one, to be honest with you.
I played all of them. Well, I shouldn't say all of them. I didn't play. What was that last one that came out? That was more of like a RPG.
Don't know.
Can't think of it. But I did. Tactical. I want to say it was. I didn't play that one, but I did play the main ones in the story.
Yeah,
but
Gear Tactics.
Yeah, and back in 2024, they've got Gear 6, which is Gears of War E-Day, which is a prequel to the first Gears of War. That I'm really that of all the games coming out, that is one of them that I am super excited for. And why is Facebook popping up?
Oh, you're trying to dock.
That is one that I am super excited for. Yes, I know we need to get a better transition here, and I'm fully aware.
All right.
My sound just went out.
I can hear you.
Hold on.
Mine did that earlier when I started talking about my streaming. Like I had to restart my headset. I was like,
"Do you guys hear anything?"
We hear you.
All right, hold on. Let me back out real quick.
Backs out and kicks us
Closes the hole. Closes the hole. That might happen. Good night, everybody.
Right. And that's the show.
Now we can talk about it.
A decent way to go out, right?
All right. But yeah, so that's how things usually go on here. We fly by the seat of our pants.
That's not bad.
Yeah. Like I said, we put garbage in, we get garbage out. Looks like he's trying to talk.
I mean, you can also go on like, I know he mentioned it briefly about media and how they're going more digital. Oh, he's completely gone.
He's gone.
They're still live, right?
Yeah.
Making sure. How the tariffs are going to start affecting the physical media and also the consoles.
Mm-hmm.
Like,
okay, I think my headset might have just gone out.
Can you hear us now?
It says that I'm going through, so I don't know.
I can hear you.
Yeah, we hear you. You just probably can't hear us. That's what happened to me. My headset all of a sudden stopped. I had to reboot it.
Put that in the private chat there. We hear you fine.
Wow, spelling on that is horrible.
Phonos. Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah.
Is he related to Pat Mahomes?
And
And on again.
But I mean, how big do you think that'll affect us? Does anybody really do physical discs anymore?
I mean, yeah, they still sell physical discs, but
I know they sell them, but like I thought with the PS5 and the newer generation where they were trying to go more digital, I thought more people transitioned to that. I mean, I was big on physical too, and I finally transitioned.
I know there's people out there that are very, very
into
big
the
on physical. Yeah.
physical.
Especially when you have shit happen like, you know, where a game will where they say they'll shut down the servers or whatever, or, you know, stop updating it and things like that. You know, I could see why people want the physical copies. But yeah. I mean, it could go all Concord. Yeah, like
Yeah.
so. That game was out for what, 2 weeks?
They just need
And then
to stop
Sony pulled
trying
the
to
plug.
do live media. Like nobody wants that. Like it may have worked for one game, and yes, it worked for a while, but he can't keep making them. Like
You know what's funny though is like, okay, I mean, I'll admit I have Overwatch 2. I mean, it's free.
right.
I have Marvel Rivals. I bought Concord. I actually enjoyed Concord. I enjoyed it in the beta and when the game came out. And, you know, I understand the argument of everything it does you can get for free in Overwatch. Okay, I get that. But that $40 price point was also keeping 99.9% of the toxic fucking morons in Overwatch out of Concord. You had people there that wanted to play the game because they paid for the game, you
Right.
know? And the fact that yeah, you paid for the game, but then that gave you everything. Like you didn't have to have a battle pass to unlock skins and shit like that. That $40 got you that automatically. Like anytime they release a new character, you had it automatically. And so it just, I don't know. I got pissed about Concord because, like I said, I bought the game. I enjoyed the game. I actually was good at it because I spent time with it. Whereas, like Overwatch, I don't really play. Rivals, I'll jump into once or twice a month, if that. You know, I have some coworkers who are trying to get me into Valorant. Fuck that. You know, like, just, I don't know. Concord had a nice thing going because of the fact that you had to pay for it.
Yeah, but I mean, like along those lines, does every game need a battle pass or
No.
a monthly subscription? Like that, it's just like the DLC and the loot boxes thing. Like
Mhm.
we're back with that. Like you're just doing it in a different way, making us pay for it, and then you get people get the FOMO. They think they're going to miss out on something, so they got to put in their money.
And I do have to admit, that's one thing I do like about the Marvel Rivals is like even after a season ends, you can go back and still do the challenges. If you bought the battle pass, if you bought the battle pass for that specific season, you can go back later and still do the challenges and earn the stuff that you did not get.
Oh, that's nice. I did not know that.
Yeah. So I thought that was pretty cool.
Yeah, that's really makes it more worth it because even if you missed out on it, you still get it. You paid for it, which is how it should be.
Yeah, and if you missed out, like you know, you can still actually go back and even buy that season battle pass so that you can start unlocking that stuff. Like it's not like, oh, it's gone, you can't buy it now. Right. You know, only the people who bought it can still work towards it. You can still buy that previous battle pass too.
Yeah. I mean, that's what's going on in WoW. They have a lot of that FOMO stuff, and people have raged against them. So then they have to freaking reverse it and make it so that it works better. And it's like, just do it in the first place. You know, we want these things. Yeah. Don't get them under things where we have to log in every month. or every day to do some daily, because the rest of us can't do it. Looks like Adam's trying to reboot. We can hear him typing though.
Yeah, we can.
Says he can't hear us. Like I said, that happened to me when we started, and it was something with my headset I had to reconnect.
Yeah. He's typing a novel. Jesus Christ. Yeah, see, so like I said, just pop on long enough to say goodbye and we'll call it a night. I mean, this is one of our longer streams actually.
Oh yeah.
We usually go about, I mean, on average we get about 2 hours and a couple minutes here and there. I mean, we're going on 2.5 hours now.
Yeah. It's because we went off and talked about food.
Yeah. So, but anyway, I think we're running out of things to talk about for now.
Yeah.
So he should just pop in.
Does he have a saying he says for the outro? Or
We have he has his little saying, and then we have a little closing window thing. But to be honest, I wouldn't know how to exit because I don't have that option, it looks like.
Huh. Okay.
Yeah, like I don't know why it won't let me. Like, I can play any of our clips, because this is one that Adam always plays when I'm talking about something, too.
That's whatever you were talking about for you.
So, but I can't.
He needs to give you a little bit more controls.
Yeah, because I was talking to him before the show that I don't have the option to output to my Twitch channel or anything like that. This show. Jeez, Adam, come on.
It's a suspense. Yeah.
But yeah,
You need to get a clip of the Bunny Hill music.
All right,
Right.
so apparently you guys can hear me, but I can't hear Jack through this stuff right now. I'm not sure what's going on. I am checking all my settings. Everything seems to be lined up, but it does say the computer needs to restart, but I don't know that usually doesn't affect this. But I know I won't be able to hear it, but was there anything else that you guys had to say before we wrap this up? I like you guys got to do this so that I can know what you're doing.
You have to give them hand signals.
Nope. But yeah, we want to thank Neo Death for coming on to the show. And Brian, you've always got an invitation for this. And if you'd like to, we can always bring you on as a co-host as well. Connor, would you be opposed to maybe doing this Saturday afternoons so that we could accommodate?
not at all.
All right, sounds good. All right, well, we will work out the details later. I want to thank everybody for coming and hopping in here, and we will see you all next time.
Peace.
Good night, everybody.